a really good quarterback. And we talked about this yesterday. If we had one game to go play a game, I would take Dak Prescott over Jalen Hurts.
Not me.
Okay.
GJ and Max. Mornings on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Obviously, Patrick Mahomes will be in that conversation with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. What he's doing right now is just pretty special.
The guys will be back Tuesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Why are you talking like that?
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Happy Monday. It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We got a jam-packed 3-hour show coming up for you here this afternoon. A lot to dive into. Browns lose and lose big. The Bengals win, and, well, any win for them right now is a big win. They get back up to 500. They're 3-3 now. Kev Nash's Steelers somehow found a way to get a huge win over Tom freaking Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Steelers showing some life. And then the Ravens, after leading by 10 with 6 minutes to go, gave up another double-digit lead, the third time this season. All three of their losses have come after giving up double-digit leads with just minutes to go.
Ridiculous.
Lots of NFL stuff to talk about. How about Tennessee pulling off the upset that Kevin Nash has been calling since, well, early in the preseason, off-season, however you want to call it. But, yes, July, nonetheless. But we'll talk college football coming up around the corner. Did the AP poll get it right with moving Tennessee up to 3? Should they be higher? Should they be lower? We'll talk about that coming up around the corner. Yankees, Guardians, Game 5 tonight, 7 o'clock later on this evening, of course. And Al Pawlowski, who hosts Guardians Live for Bally Sports, he'll be calling in an hour from now. And we'll preview tonight's Game 5 matchup between the Guardians and the Yankees. Admit it, you're a little surprised there's a Game 5.
A little bit.
It is the Yankees. Come on, you're a little surprised. This is yeah, okay. That's fair enough.
A little bit.
Fair enough. So where do we start? I mean, right off the bat, I mean, look, I think at the end of the day right now, everyone is Johnny says, I'm here for it starting today. Brad May says, go Vols. Of course, Brad, he also loves all your Tennessee love, by the way. He's a big Volunteers fan.
I see. I talked to him over the weekend.
You talked to him over the week. You talked to him over the weekend more than I talked to him over the weekend.
He said he had to watch the game by himself.
I noticed that, actually. I was coming back from out of town. I texted a group of my friends. I'm like, so is anyone watching the game anywhere? Crickets.
Too nervous.
Yeah, but you said you're the same way. You can't watch big games with other people.
Oh, no. Tonight's game with the Guardians and the Yankees, Game 5, I'm watching it in the bedroom by myself. The wife, she'll probably watch in the living room. I can't watch big games.
You don't even let the wife watch it?
No, not these big games like this, man. I get too nervous. I pace. I walk around. I bite my nails. I'm very annoying. So that I don't annoy other people, I stay away.
All right, well, let's just dive into it. We'll get into if Ann Anderson, if you've tuned in yet, she's always on us because we're baseball playoffs and we're talking so much NFL. We're going to get some baseball talk in coming up at 4 o'clock. Again, Al Pawlowski, Bally Sports. He hosts Guardians Live. Excited to chat with him coming up here an hour from now. All right, the NFL yesterday, very, very weird. A lot of weird, upsets. I think the NFL is not good this year. Like across the board, Kev, I shouldn't say it's not good, but a lot of teams are underperforming or they're underachieving, if you will. I thought that this was the deepest the NFL has been in quite some time, especially at quarterback. And when you have a quarterback, you feel more comforted in where you are as a team, right? Mm-hmm. So I just feel like there's not a lot of, outside of the Bills and the Chiefs, And the Eagles, I'm officially on the Eagles, not bandwagon. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I believe in the Eagles now. I think that they are the most. I think they're a lighter version of the Bills. I think the Chiefs are more offensive than defensive, but show flashes defensively. I think Bills and the Eagles are the two most well-rounded teams. The Bills are the best team in football. I still think the Chiefs are the second best team in football, but I think the Eagles are the second most well-rounded. I know I'm moving the goalpost around a lot. I'm a believer in the Eagles. I like what I see out of them. But outside of those, there's not a team out there outside of those three teams that I'm like, oh yeah, I like what I see in them. The Ravens have underachieved. The Bengals are an embarrassing 3-3. I don't care that they got a win yesterday. We'll talk about that. I mean, my God, I'm waiting for. This is the same organization that threw a parade for losing a Super Bowl. I can't imagine what they're going to do for beating a beaten down Saints team from yesterday. But my goodness, we'll get to that in a moment. But the Ravens are not good. The Bengals are average. The Browns weren't supposed to be elite, but they were at least supposed to be average, and they're below average right now. The Broncos are not good. The Chargers are banged up. The Raiders are 1-4 to start. Kev, there's nothing positive. The Dolphins, just when you thought that they were going to be like I thought they were going to be like the Eagles of the AFC, just that surprise dominant team. They can't catch a break from injuries. Hopefully they can get Tua back, where it sounds like they'll get Tua back this week. Hopefully they can pick up where they left off back before all the injuries and the concussions took over. But Kev, the NFL is just a big jumbled mess. Yesterday was ugly football. The Bucs don't look good. The Packers don't look good. The teams we're accustomed to seeing play well, the Rams, the Super Bowl champions, they're worse than the loser in the Super Bowl, the Bengals. The Bengals look better than they do, and that's just the tallest short person right there. So I don't really know what contest they won. NFL's not good right now.
I think it's in a transition period. We saw this transition happen years ago when players like Jim Kelly and Dan Marino and those guys transitioned out of the NFL, and now we're seeing the next transition with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, and now we're seeing the up-and-coming guys come in the league. It's only a matter of time for the new generation of quarterbacks really to take over, and those be the bell cows, and the other teams just be the has-beens or the teams working their way back up. It's always like this. It just seems more prominent now because the team that you follow should have been better than they were 2 years in a row. And it's like, wait a minute, this is the NFL. Why aren't we supposed to win? We have all this talent on our team, but the talent in the NFL, these are the best of the best. And this is exactly the way the NFL wants it. It wants it to have last week, oh man, the AFC North stinks. And then, oh my goodness, the Steelers went to Buffalo and lost by 35 points. But hold on, they just beat Tom Brady. This is exactly what they want. They want every fan base across the NFL landscape to think their team actually has a shot every single week. And the reality of it, they do. And that's the crazy part about it. You look at the AFC North with the Bengals being 3-3. But guess what? Everybody's still in it. That's the craziest part about it. As bad as the Steelers are, and how many quarters the Baltimore Ravens stopped playing after 3 quarters, they're still in it to win it. So this is exactly where you want to be. It can be bad football, but guess what? It's good football when your team wins.
So William Yali right off the bat says it's called parity, which is why the NFL is the best product in the world. I want to agree. That there's parity, but I think parity means like there's a lot of good teams. There's not a lot of good teams. There's a lot of bad teams. There's a lot of good rosters playing bad football right now. Yeah. I don't believe there's parity in the NFL right now. I believe that there is a lot of balanced rosters. But I know what you're saying. But the difference is if the Broncos were playing well and the Chargers were playing well, and this isn't all about wins and losses, by the way. This is why I get so
aesthetically.
It's
aesthetically.
Okay, yeah,
that's fair.
I think there was a quote from Tom Brady 2 weeks ago that he was asked about the NFL season so far. He said there's just ugly football all across the league. And I agree with him 100%. Like, I know people like to do the whole, well, all that matters in the NFL, a win is a win. A win is a win, but sometimes you got to take away things that happen within a game for you to feel comfortable about big picture. Okay, can you continue? Okay, you got to win yesterday. Great. But can you continue to win that way?
Right.
There's not a lot of teams I'm confident that picking up wins yesterday that, oh man, they like your team got a win yesterday. Is that who your team is? Now, everything they did yesterday, that's what they're going to do moving forward. No, that's not a shot at the Steelers. It's just like was it that they played well or the Buccaneers played bad?
I think it's the Steelers played well.
The Buccaneers didn't play bad?
Absolutely, the Steelers played well.
Then that means that that's in them to be like that the rest of the season. And if they don't, then Mike Tomlin's a bum.
Well, those are your words. Definitely not mine. So the reason I say they played well is because the one part about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is that's been traveling with them has been their defense. Their run defense is top 3 in the NFL. Their pass defense is top 3 in the NFL. Their defense is next level. Now, they haven't been able to protect Tom Brady in the passing game. The Bucs passing offense hasn't been there all season. But when the Steelers got the ball back with 4 minutes to go, we all familiar with this term, the 4-minute offense. Get 3 first downs and you can run the clock out. For the first time, and I want to say at least 3 years, the Steelers were able to accomplish that. Not only just running the ball, but they were able to pass the ball to pick up first downs and run out the clock. So I got to give a lot of credit to Mitchell Trubisky and Chase Claypool. This is the first time I've seen Chase Claypool make any plays since his rookie year. So I say it was the Pittsburgh Steelers definitely capitalizing on being at home, having that momentum coming into the game with the young quarterback. He gets knocked out the game. Mitchell Trubisky comes in there and plays like he was back in North Carolina. So I want to give the Steelers a ton of credit, especially for that 4-minute offense.
So right now, the other thing that people need to understand is not everyone is starting a race from the same starting block.
Facts.
Not everyone has an elite quarterback. Not everyone has a legit starting quarterback. Not everyone has a good defense, or teams that have good rosters. Those rosters aren't healthy. I'm so sick of the word excuse. When you bring up logic to people, the one thing they like to counter with is, oh, there's the excuses. No, sometimes if you watch football and understand how football is played, you have to implement logic. I know why that's a problem for some of y'all. But yeah, nonetheless. Oh, yesterday, my wife about killed me. She couldn't wait because she thought the Browns and Bengals games were wrapping up and that we would have a whole afternoon together. Nope, I was glued to my phone dealing with the idiot Bengals fans that ruined my entire Sunday.
They ruined your Sunday, or your Browns ruined your Sunday?
No. My Browns have nothing to do with it. I could be mad about my team losing because my team lost, not because the idiot Bengals fans who finally, their quarterback was finally able to look like he did last year because he wasn't worried about picking out an outfit for a day and wasn't out at a concert an hour after losing a Super Bowl, finally has a good game because apparently he needs to play in New Orleans. He should just join the Saints then so he could be a good quarterback every freaking week. Same thing with Jamar Chase. My God. But yes, ruined my whole entire Sunday. I was glued to my phone. She's trying to have a conversation with me. I'm not listening to a word she's saying. I'm being absolutely a horrible husband. She's upset with me. She goes, you just need to put your phone down. So I put my phone down. And then she goes, you're like an addict. I could tell you're just like shaking over there. You need your phone. So I had to get up and walk across the room, get my phone, cuss people out, then go sit back down, pretend that I'm enjoying the movie that I wasn't paying attention to with her.
What
She
you
kept
guys
asking me, The Watcher, ironically enough, on Netflix, in all seriousness. Have no clue what's happening. She said, do you even know what's going on? I said, absolutely. The Bengals fans suck. And she goes, that's not what's happening here. Anyways, let's start this over. Not every team is starting from the same starting block. A win for one team is not the same as a win for another. Yes, a win keeps you in line for the playoffs. It keeps you fighting another week. But when you are making the same mistakes that you've done for the first 5 weeks of the season, when you are still looking like the same team every single week, and just sometimes you're playing a better opponent or a lesser opponent that really dictates the outcome of a game more so than anything, that's the problem I have with teams right now in the NFL. I'm tired of the bumper sticker material. Well, a win's a win. Hey, there is no easy wins in the NFL. Yes, there is. If you play the way you're supposed to, yes, there are easy wins. The Saints should have been an easy win yesterday for the Bengals, the defending AFC champions. You had the New Orleans Saints, Kev. Andy Dalton, the 5th backup quarterback that they faced this year, by the way. The 5th. Andy Dalton. No Michael Thomas. No Jarvis Landry. No Chris Olave. And they almost lost to them anyways. And they're going to try and tell me a win's a win. They're going to try and tell me, oh, well, what about your dumpster fire of an organization? This is what I get annoyed with. If I don't talk about their team, they tell me, you got to talk about our team. How could you ignore our team? And then I talk about their team. And then the only thing they counter with, Kev, is what about your dumpster fire team? What about my dumpster fire team? I've acknowledged that they've been a dumpster fire 2-4 to start. They can't even stop a nosebleed at this point. I don't know what happened. This is why Jacoby Brissett's been, I thought very solid in 3.5 weeks into this season. And then all of a sudden he's doing his best Baker Mayfield impersonation. He's throwing the ball to the other team, turning it over left and right. Amari Cooper can't catch wide open passes. David Bell can't catch wide open passes. I've never seen a lead get away from that. Kev, the Patriots scored 24 points off of 4 turnovers yesterday. Then that onside kick, from there, they lost all momentum, and it's like they just quit. And I don't just mean like physically quit. They mentally quit. They gave 20 points up in the final, 6 minutes because they just didn't care. The Browns, that is a problem that Deshaun Watson can't even come back to fix. Deshaun Watson coming back is not all of a sudden going to make this team stop making boneheaded mistakes. It's frustrating. So, yes, I'm watching one team play like ass and losing. I'm watching another team play like ass and winning. And it's just frustrating because they are both acting like they're playing better than the other one. And they're not. Both teams not very good right now, but one came away with the win and mine just got steamrolled. My whole day was ruined, but I'm happy for your black and yellow.
Me too. I didn't see that
because the win
coming.
means nothing for you. It ain't gonna matter. You're still gonna be in last place.
Probably, but I'll take this win. And we got the Dolphins, Sunday Night Football, return to Tua. Let's get it on. Let's see what happens.
All right, 518-1410, 518-1410. We'll step away for a few moments now that I got my immature little rant out of the way. Let's break down what happened yesterday between the Bengals and the Saints and the Browns, of course, and the Patriots and the AFC North as a whole and what that means for both teams moving forward. At what point, I mean, we always say it's early in the season. It's early in the season. We did our panic meter game last week, talking about yesterday's matchups. Which team needed a win more? Well, I said the Bengals needed a win more than the Browns, but the Bengals get that win. They feel fine. The team I said didn't need the win as much as the other one. They pick up the loss, but that loss feels so significant. I feel like the season was lost yesterday. That loss wasn't just a loss, Kev, for the Browns. That loss was way more than just losing a ball game. I'm pissed. I'm pissed because I can't defend it. I have nothing. I have nothing. We'll be right back. 518-1410.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be partly cloudy, a high near 48. Tonight's going to be cloudy with a slight chance of rain and sleet, a low near 34. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain and sleet, a high near 48. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
When you download the Home Depot app, taking on big or small projects starts with a tap. It's your pocket-sized toolbox for getting more done. Image search helps you find what you need with a snap. Store mode pinpoints exactly where to go to get what you want while you're at our store. Or just tap to arrange for easy curbside pickup, all from the palm of your hand. It's the app that's made for doing. The Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
You can't get much for $5 these days, unless you go to Wendy's for a $5 Biggie Bag. Get your choice of double stack, junior bacon cheeseburger, or crispy chicken BLT, plus 4-piece nugs, fries, and a drink, all for just $5. That was smooth, wasn't it? That's how you're going to feel when you get that Biggie Bag at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes 4-piece nuggets, small soft drink, and small fry. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, So thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code IMPACT at checkout. That's harrys.com, code IMPACT. Enjoy!
Houday Nation, Betfred has come all the way from England to the great state of Ohio with over 50 years of sports betting experience. No emperors, no movie stars, just a sportsbook you can trust. The Betfred Sportsbook app will be available on January 1st, 2023. Until then, download the Bengals app or go to betfredsports.com and have a chance to win Bengals tickets and exclusive merchandise. Official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Hall of Famer and all-time leading rusher with exciting news.
If you suffer from chronic joint pain, Emmitt Smith wants to introduce you to QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in biologic treatment for pain. I'm talking regenerative solutions that encourage your body to heal and repair itself. No medications, no surgeries, no downtime.
If you have pain in your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders, don't assume the old treatments are the only treatments. Learn more about how you can get lasting relief with biologic treatments that can repair and restore damaged tissue.
Call to learn more about this exciting natural way to deal with chronic joint pain. Play golf without pain, walk upstairs without pain, play with your kids and grandkids without pain. Get back on your job without pain. Live your life pain-free. Call QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Need to visit the Ohio BMV? Go online first. It could save you a trip. It's now easier and more convenient than ever to get what you need from the BMV online. Need to renew your driver's license? Renew online. And if you need to renew your vehicle registration, visit one of our new BMV Express kiosks or go online. If you do need to visit a BMV agency, use the Get in Line online tool, also found on the website, to save your spot and minimize your time waiting. For more services available online, check out bmv.ohio.gov.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, I got my temper tantrum out of the way, so now we can try to do our best to be a professional sports talk show host. I say we. I always bring Kevin down. You're only as fast as your slowest runner. Kev, you're pretty slow.
Trying to keep up.
No. All right, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Pawlowski, again, hosts Guardians Live for Bally Sports. He'll be joining us coming up around the corner to preview Game 5 between the Guardians and the Yankees coming up later on tonight. I did not think when we ended the show on Friday that we'd be previewing Game 5, but that's where we're at right now. So good stuff. Guardians had a chance last night to close it out, advance to the championship series. But I think they were playing with house money yesterday. I think they knew they just had to get 1 of 2 after they got that big win Friday. They knew they just had to get 1 of 2 in Cleveland, and that's what they were able to do. So we'll talk about that without Pawlowski coming up here in just a moment. Kev, the Bengals yesterday, 30-26. They get the win over the New Orleans Saints. Last week we did the which team needed a win, desperately needed a team more. Every team needs a win every week. Don't get me wrong, but the Browns and the Bengals both had two different, the same record heading into the week, but both teams had obviously different, panic meters, if you will. And that's where they were found themselves in heading in. Browns had a tough one with the Patriots. At least that was the perception heading into it. Ended up being way more than just tougher, of course. But the Bengals and the Saints, the Bengals going on the road. They were 2-3. They've lost 3 tough games. All 3 of those just as well easily could have been wins. This is why earlier I know what people try to say when they say, hey, a win's a win. Kind of. A win's a win in a long 17-game regular season when, not every week you're going to just blow teams out. I don't expect them to blow teams out every week. But when you're 6 weeks into the season and you look the exact same every week, and yet you still could have come away with wins over bad teams, or you're winning over bad teams, you're not you're not winning. You're scoring more points than the other team when that clock hits 0. That's great. Put a tally in the win category. But you're not playing winning football. You're not playing your brand of football. And that's the mistake people keep making. And this is why I get so annoyed with the bumper sticker material when it comes to sports. Well, in the NFL, style points don't matter. Style points don't matter, but sometimes if you could win a game and not feel good about it, but when you don't feel good about any of your wins, all right, and I get yesterday was a reason to feel good about the Bengals win because they finally got that big game from Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So there was a reason to feel good about that because regardless of who's not on the field for the Saints, there's been a lot of crappy teams that they've gone up against that they weren't capitalizing on opportunities. I mean, the Ravens have the worst pass defense in football or the worst secondary in football, and Joe Burrow looked like he's never played a game of football in his life before until the final drive of that game or whatever. So that's why I meant okay, even if the Bengals would have beat the Ravens last week, you would have felt good about that because Joe Burrow still looks the same amount of average as he did in the weeks 1 through 4. But you feel good about the win, but do you really feel good about who the Bengals are? Yesterday, they could have easily just come away with the loss with Joe Burrow having a better game and Jamar Chase come away with the underlying issues still have not gone away for the Bengals. They still can't figure out the run game. You ain't winning nothing if you don't get that run game figured out because obviously the Saints have a lot of key pieces on their defense banged up. No one on their offense that's worth the damn outside of Alvin Kamara played yesterday. So, yes, yesterday coming away with the win is one thing. You feel good about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But overall, your defense got ran all over. That's not good as you headed further into the season, going to be going up against better running teams, including the Browns coming up on Halloween. That's the ticket to the Browns winning right there if that's what you're going to let them do. And the Browns, you could run all over them, but who's going to run all over the Browns? Joe Mixon, who had a whopping 45 yards on 8 carries yesterday.
Good average.
That's what I mean by, yes, I know what people are trying to say. They, by golly, put it on a bumper sticker and let's slap it on the back of our car. My gosh. I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And, oh, man, you guys just love reading them little fortune cookie things. Now you just believe them. You pin them up on your little car in your office. Oh, it's so embarrassing. The Bengals got to win. They desperately needed that. They're 3-3. As long as you're winning and can keep fixing some things as you go, fine. But you're a month and a half into the season, and a lot of those issues aren't going away. I don't care that him and Jamar had a big game yesterday. You were able to string together some big games because we haven't seen that. Bottom line is they took care of business. 28-37. Joe Burrow, my only concern, and Keith Byers and I were talking about this at Frickers yesterday. Joe Burrow, threw the ball. I think he threw 26 passes in the first half.
Yeah, they totally abandoned the run.
It's not that, they couldn't run. It's that they wouldn't run. Now, to be fair, we as average fans who don't know anything about football outside of our playing days in high school, those are my favorite people. I played in high school. I watch film. I know what I'm talking about. Sit down, shut up. No, you don't. You don't know more than Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor's not the best at his job, but he knows way more than you do. Let's just be clear. There must have been a reason that they just continued to drop back 26. Maybe it's because there was no Marshawn Lattimore. There was no secondary, and they just figured they got to keep feeding the rock, and hopefully something breaks eventually. But 26 pass attempts in one half, and I could see that in the second half, especially late in the game if you're behind or whatever. But, I mean, my goodness, Kev, they didn't even try to establish the run. Is it Joe Mixon just is not good, and that's why they're avoiding it? Or is Joe Mixon not good because they're not continuously feeding in the ball? I don't know. Trying to find that. They found that balance last year. He was a top 5 running back while they had a top 5 explosive passing game. They did it last year. They're not doing it this year. Maybe it's the offensive line, or maybe Joe Mixon's taking a step back, but that's one of my big takeaways from that game yesterday. By the way, I'm not going to put a whole hell of a lot into yesterday's game. You came away with a win. That's super. The same issues that have been costing you games, though, the first 5 weeks, they still showed up yesterday. You're just lucky you played a team with no Michael Thomas, no Chris Olave, no, none of your key starting guys, and Jarvis Landry, and another backup quarterback.
For me, for the Cincinnati Bengals, they finally hit the big play. And that's what their whole offense was last year, big plays. From the big plays, from the passing game, obviously it was there all last year, and they finally hit one yesterday with that 60-yard completion,
60-yard, yeah,
that
nice.
Catch and run from Jamar Chase. And that's what their offense was predicated on last year. So if they're able to get that back clicking, then they'll be exactly where they want to be. They want to be in the mix of things. They really abandoned the run, and rightfully so. If you don't have Marshawn Lattimore out there, why not have Jamar Chase going up against backup cornerbacks? And a lot of things that they did a lot of short passing game as well. So those are basically, like they like to say, long extended handoffs and everything like that. So I think
that's different than last year.
Yes.
Even Bayer said yesterday, when did Joe Burrow become check down Charlie? I'm like, exactly. That's what I've been asking all season.
Yeah, their defenses are forcing them to go the length of the field. They're like, no, we're not going to play you straight man up. We're going to see if you're patient enough to take what we give you. We're going to see if you're patient enough to check the ball down. We're going to make sure you're going to drive the ball down the field instead of these two play drives for 80 yards and a touchdown, because those explosive plays is how they lived last year. So this is a maturing process from Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor, because Zach Taylor, we know he's a former college quarterback at Nebraska. He's an offensive mind. These quarterbacks, the former quarterbacks, when they get in these positions, man, they want to chuck the ball around because they live through the quarterback that they're coaching. They want to get explosive plays as well. So it's very critical for Joe Burrow to take what the defense gives you. Don't force it, because when you force it, that's what happens. You get game one against the Pittsburgh Steelers, you throw a ton of turnovers, ton of interceptions. So check downs aren't bad. Tom Brady has made a career checking the ball down to running backs. Think about all the guys that he's made and helped make a lot of money and win Super Bowls because he has nice running backs out the backfield who catch the ball. Zach Burkhead, James White from Wisconsin, this new young kid running back that they got down there in Tampa Bay has a pretty good set of hands. These running backs can catch the ball out of the backfield, especially in today's passing game where it's basically 7-on-7. Those guys are going to play in the NFL for a long time and make a lot of money. Can you check the ball down to these playmakers out the backfield instead of trying to constantly hit the home run like you're playing Madden?
I'm about to ban this from the show. If anyone says a win's a win, you're banned from the show.
Win's a win.
You can't be banned from the show. I don't have the authority to get rid of you. But
let's head to the house.
Let's go. Oh yeah, I see what you were doing there. I thought I was saying something nice, and you're like, damn it. Yes, but this is not, people in the comment section. That's how lazy people are. You don't know how to analyze a game. You just say, win's a win, win's a win, win's a win. Because people who do that, not Kev, people who do that are lazy and they don't know what the hell they're watching, and they just watch a box score and say, oh, my team scored more points than the other one. We must be really good. You don't understand football then. But yesterday, the Bengals are here's the difference, though, is okay, if that's how they're going to win. The problem is, Kev, their offense, that to me, if it's constant check down, you talk about the Patriots, that's what they did, but they never had a roster like Cincinnati's. Like the roster, in my opinion, that roster is too good to be a check down Charlie team. I know what you're saying, take what the defense gives you, but if that's what the defense gives you and that's what the offense you're going to run, then do you really need to make Jamar Chase the highest paid wide receiver in football when it's all said and done?
Because you get plays like that.
Okay, fine, but you need T. Higgins too.
Well, they're probably not going to be able to afford them both.
You're going to let one of them go?
You're going to have to.
That's fine.
That's the business of sports.
I hope they keep all three of them. That way they could not afford to pay one damn person on that defense. It's the Lamar Jackson rule. Everyone thinks like, man, Kenner, why are you against Lamar getting paid? I'm like, I'm not. I hope he gets paid. As long as they keep giving up them damn double-digit leads at the end of ball games, I'll pay him myself.
The defensive dudes is getting paid now, and they not performing. So goodness gracious, that's embarrassing for not only the Ravens but for Lamar and Harbaugh. Like, look, man. The game is 4 quarters, and this is super cliche, but they're only playing 3. They seem like, all right, third quarter, that's game. No, they still have another fourth quarter to play, and these double-digit leads they're giving up, they're not only in the second half, they're in the fourth quarter that they're giving up these leads. So it's not all on the defense for the Ravens giving up these points. It's the fact that the offense isn't able to convert third downs. And then 2 weeks ago when they played the Bills, Lamar threw an interception in the end zone on the 4th down, which should have been a field goal, or since your coach decided to go for it, you can't compound the problem by throwing an interception. You throw it out the back of the end zone and make them go 99 instead of 80 yards. That was a mistake. And then yesterday, he basically did the exact same thing. When he was pressured, he threw it up for grabs, and it got intercepted. So as big as a Lamar Jackson fan as I am, those interceptions in the fourth quarter are unacceptable. And the fact that you can't convert third downs is really not a good look.
All right, 518-1410, 518-1410. Bengals fans, here's the deal. You're just happy for the win. That's fine. But what did you see yesterday that makes you feel confident that this can continue? Because we've seen them get wins at the – I mean, they did this against the Jets. Remember, you guys thought, oh, the offense, finally, everything came together. Hallelujah. Where'd it go the next couple weeks? You're lucky Tua got hurt. Otherwise, you would have lost against them as well. You're lucky that Chris Olave and Michael, that all the guys for the Saints yesterday didn't play, Michael Thomas and them. My goodness, you needed 4 full quarters to beat Andy Dalton And no Michael Thomas, no Chris Olave, no Jarvis Landry. Holy moly. Oh, my gosh. We'll get to my team in a moment. By the way, just so I could beat you guys to the punch, my team's a dumpster fire. My team lost to a third-string quarterback, yada, 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 yada. Yes, I know all those things. Here's another rule kept for the show. I feel like,
do I have a vote in these?
Yes, you can vote on this.
Okay.
But like Shaw, who knows nothing but thinks he knows everything. By the way, I did see him at the high school football game last Friday. And then we talked, and then I thought we were cool again. And then he pissed me off yesterday, and then I'm done with him already for another while.
It's only Monday.
It's only Monday. It took, I thought we were good. He came up and said, Kidder, I am the most wrong person in the history of the world. You are always right. My fault. And then we're friends again. But no. So this is what I'm tired of. It's my job to have an opinion on the Bengals. My job to have an opinion on the Browns. As a fan, you say I'm the troll. It's my job to talk about your team. It's not your job to talk about my team. You know why I know Bengals fans know nothing about their team? It's because their only counter to any criticism that comes their way. Didn't the Browns lose to the Patriots, man? Yes, the Browns, with one of the worst defenses in the NFL and a backup quarterback, lost to the Patriots yesterday. A team with no playoff expectations or any expectations at all, considering they have a backup quarterback. They lost a football game yesterday. That's not that surprising. A team that was in the Super Bowl last year that had expectations to be better than what they were last year in the Super Bowl is barely hanging on to beat a team with no Michael Thomas, no Chris Olave, no Jarvis Landry and company. So, yeah, we're not starting a race from the same starting blocks here. It's all about, they're not the same teams. And by the way, I will be open to getting ripped all the time. When Deshaun Watson is officially under center for the Browns, everything bad that happens with Deshaun Watson at quarterback, that's that. Once you have your quarterback, that's when everything's fair. Browns don't have a quarterback right now. Jarvis is a very, very good backup quarterback, but you're not going to win in this league long term with a backup quarterback. Oh, but what about the Patriots? What about the Dallas Cowboys? The Dallas Cowboys in 4 games. The New England Patriots just played their 3rd game with the backup quarterback. Can we stop with this launch? You're taking a small sample size of success for teams and trying to build this narrative that you don't need a starting quarterback. If that's the case, if you don't need an elite starting quarterback, why are teams paying 50 freaking plus million a year to get starting quarterbacks? Because you can't win in this league without them. So this idea that we should just expect the Browns to be 6-0 with the backup quarterback, you're even dumber than I thought. That's all I got to say about that. Because that's the thing that was driving me nuts yesterday, Kev. Every time if I had any opinion on the game whatsoever, oh, Browns are a dumpster fire. That's your opinion? Not, oh, yeah, you're right. We probably should have taken care of the Saints a little bit better, especially with no starting quarterback and, 3 backup wide receivers. They had to go to a practice squad to bring a receiver up. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have had to be holding our breath in the final play of the game to beat the Saints when we're a fully healthy roster that was just in the Super Bowl last year. And I'm the crazy one for holding them to that expectation, Kev. I don't get it. I feel like I have higher standards for their team than they do.
So how much credence do you put on betting lines?
I think betting lines create a lot of if they didn't exist. But no, because fans aren't dumb. I know that the Saints are bad with a backup quarterback and no wide receivers. I know that the Patriots are bad with their 3rd string quarterback and no Tom Brady. But I'm not making it. I ripped my team yesterday. I know my team. I've been ripping the defense, Kev. I've been saying fire Joe Woods for weeks now. People have this sense that I don't rip my team. I do rip my team. I get Browns fans pissed at me all the time because I rip my team. They just hear what they want to hear. 518-1410. Kev, who's up?
We got Brian, line 1.
All right, to line 1 we go with Brian. Brian, welcome, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Good.
I'm good now that I got my rant out of the way.
Yeah, we're waiting on that.
What's up, Brian? I now know who Brian is. So what's up? This isn't Brad. It's
Yeah.
Brian. Yeah.
It's Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I saw I was honorable mention on last Friday's list, so I figured I better call and try to get those points up again.
I need to start in the top 10. I need to have the considered votes category. You would have been in the considered votes category, Brian. I'm just saying.
Right. It's a starting point. It's a starting point.
You got to start
there.
somewhere,
That's right.
A win's a win.
Oh, there you go. The Bengals game yesterday, I was really excited to see them starting to get Tyler Boyd involved in that slant game we talked about. The running game still has issues, but when you're getting him out of the backfield, that check down Charlie, when it's there, it is there. You're not going to hit those home runs all the time, but that definitely opened up. If we would have had the play calling from previous weeks on yesterday, I don't think that 60-yard connection probably would have been there. So that was good. It was really the most frustrating part was we couldn't get off the field on 3rd downs. So it's, as well as the defense has played all year, yesterday they just looked like they were playing on their heels the whole time. And then our safeties playing so far back let that middle of the field open for those third down conversions. That was really kind of stressful. But, a win is a win. So.
Oh, there it is. They're banned phrases on this show. Only I'm allowed to say, but a win is a win. That's strike one. I'm not going to hold it against you. You're still in the considering votes category, but a win is not a win. Just saying. But I guess, hey, the Ravens losing yesterday. The biggest win for the Bengals yesterday was that the Ravens lost yesterday.
That was kind of a weird dynamic of the game because they kind of had their lead, and then just like they've been doing all year, they kind of blown that. I was waiting for that to happen during the Bengals game. I stayed up till midnight to watch that game, knowing I had to wake up to teach school the next day, and I was tired and grumpy on Monday watching the Ravens beat the Bengals. But
I've seen you grumpy. I've seen you grumpy. You're a scary dude.
It's not pretty. Yeah.
All right.
That's all I had. You guys have a great day. I'll hang up and listen.
All right, Brian, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
518-1410, 518-1410. I've struck a nerve with Bengals fans, apparently. Look, what do we hear? Ron Broadstock, a fully healthy roster. They're missing their best run stopper. Oh, really? Is that what we're doing here? Kev, let's rewind. We got a remote. Want to hit her? Yeah. Let's go back to that Falcons game against the Browns. Remember Kinner was just a big old bag of excuses when I said that, man, the Browns had their whole defensive line out. That's why they gave 170 yards rushing on the ground in the second half against the Falcons. What did all you idiot Bengals fans say? Excuses. Oh, but now you have your best run stoppers out, and that's why you ran all over. Maybe it's because it's the first good offensive player you faced all year, and that's what happened to you. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. I wasn't allowed to use that a few weeks ago. I'm not going to let y'all weirdos use that today. Nope. Oh, Anthony Jameson. He must be pounding that Jameson this afternoon, saying no DJ Reader, no Topu would be significant injuries that allow the Saints to run like they did. Oh, Kev, I keep forgetting. In the Bengals annoying fan handbook, it says we operate by a set of rules that's different than everybody else's, and this must be what it is. Whiny Bengals fans can make excuses, by the way. Oh, when I bring up injuries on the other team, it doesn't matter. You got to play who's in front of you. Well, it doesn't matter. You got to play what's on your roster there, buddy boy. Don't be giving me that weird old excuses. I'm telling you right now. Hey.
We're going to talk about the Browns?
Let's talk about the Browns. 518-1410. Stefanski. I've been defending Stefanski all season. I thought yesterday was his worst game. It's one thing to not give Joe Mixon the ball, but when you have the best running back in the NFL, and in 70 offensive plays, he touches the ball in 30 of them, that's a problem. I'm going to talk about Kevin Stefanski and the Browns. We're going to talk about that dumpster fire of a team. We're going to talk about that team that the Bengals hold to a higher standard than their own. Talking about the fans. The Browns, with the backup quarterback and the worst defense in the league almost, should be 6-0. Their team's 3-3, and it's early in the season. You got to get better. Morons. We'll be right back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Dr. Travis Stork here to tell you about a great pain reliever called Salonpas Pain Relieving Patches. Salonpas is pain medicine in a patch. You stick it right on sore muscles for up to 8 hours. Clinical research has shown that people that used Salonpas reported less pain with improvement in mood, sleep, and the ability to work. Safe, effective relief is one peel and place away. Salonpas, it's good medicine.
God, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending Uma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Uma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Uma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
Yo, Pablo Torre here, host of the ESPN Daily Podcast. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today. Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Every Monday at noon, don't miss the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. The Keith Byers Show earlier this afternoon, Keith revealed his top 16 cab. He's an official top 25 voter. And every week they're, of course, urged to put out their top 16. I don't know why they're not urged to put out their full top 25, but I don't know. I'm not a voter. But nonetheless, he has Ohio State number 1 still.
Okay.
Tennessee, I believe he moved him up to 3. I believe, or 4. Either way, I have to go look. No, he did move him up to 4. And then he dropped Alabama to 9. When we get to the point where we're releasing our top 10, I'm just curious, where would you, or just we always do our top 4 with the 2 playoff outliers. Where would you put Alabama?
Around 7, 8.
See, again, and by the way, 518-1410, 518-1410. The thing about the college football playoff that I always find most interesting is that it's never about the 4 best teams. The 4 best teams, it's always about the 4 best resumes. And that's what I always find interesting about the 4 best resume argument, is the fact that the 4 best resume argument is one of those things that, you got to be careful when it just depends. Do you want the 4 best resumes argument to be made? Because if I'm Clemson, I want the 4 best resume argument to be made. If I am Ohio State, I want the 4 best team argument to be made. Because you can argue, as great as Ohio State has been, their resume is like Michigan's resume is officially better now.
Mm-hmm.
They got that win over Penn State. Michigan's resume.
Hey, Shaw, that's a blowout.
Yes, that's a blowout. It's not an Ohio State blowout, but it's a blowout by Michigan. Blowouts is like what Ohio State does, just bludgeoning teams by 50. But yes, you'll get there. You'll get there. But no, you know what I mean? Like, it is a balance of both. 4 best teams in the country, in my opinion, no particular order. By the way, I think Tennessee, we'll get to college later. I'm getting ahead of myself. My apologies. I'm just excited to get to the college football talk around the corner. We're going to talk baseball with Pawlowski coming up here about 15 minutes from now. He hosts Gaurdians live for Bally Sports up in the Cleveland market, of course, but he's going to hop on to preview tonight's Game 5 between the Yankees and the Guardians. All right, I mainly was getting sidetracked because I just was avoiding having to talk about the disaster that was the Cleveland Browns from yesterday, Kev. 38 points they gave up to the New England Patriots. How about New England Patriots after just being absolutely horrific offensively for the first, 3-4 weeks of the season? The last 2 weeks, just laying it on teams. I mean, now let's be clear, it's the Lions and the Browns. Oh, my. But it's just one of those 38-15. They put 14 points up in that. They really put 28 points up in the second half after only scoring 10 in the first half. I mean, it was 10-6 at halftime, and then it was that 28-9 second half. Cleveland had an opportunity, to cut it within a possession. Then they went for that they went for the 2-point conversion, Kev, which I just did not get. I did not understand that. I know at some point you're going to have to convert. You were down 16. You're going to have to convert, or down 15. You were going to have to get a 2-point conversion at one point. I just thought it was important to get that extra point right there in the next possession down the field, go for 2 if you had to. Now, I don't know why in my head, I guess
chasing points
shouldn't matter, right? But go make sure that what you are chasing is an opportunity to tie the game.
Yes.
Then they missed that 2-point conversion, and then it was, now you're down 9 with 6 minutes to go, and then they kicked that onside kick, and then they recovered it, or at least we thought, and then the crowd goes absolutely nuts. All momentum was on Cleveland's side. I have never seen a team spiral so quickly out of control in my life. Can you think of a time that an NFL team, I'm not saying it's never happened, I'm just saying I've watched a lot of bad Browns games. I've never seen a team just spiral out of control the way that they did. I mean, the second that call was reversed, it's like you could tell that mentally, physically, they just quit. They gave up. I've defended Kevin Stefanski all season. I don't think he's the problem. I don't think you could take a head coach of a team with a backup quarterback and say that, well, your play calling's the problem. Right now, you want to know why Jacoby Brissett's the worst kind of backup quarterback to have, Kev? It's because he can make 5 fantastic, great throws, and then he can never replicate those 5 fantastic, great throws. Like Trubisky, I think he's a better backup than Trubisky. Trubisky is not capable of going on these long, significant drives. I know he went that big drive late or whatever. I get that. But
played a good second half.
The Steelers never once saw him throughout that run before they went to Kenny Pickett and thought, okay, we have something to work with here. Jacoby brings you something to work with. But the problem is he's so inconsistent that as great as he could look one moment, he could look equally that bad the next. I think it's almost better to have a quarterback that has so many limitations that he can't even show you signs of greatness, because then you're forced to run the football. Jacoby Brissett's why I think Kevin Stefanski outthinks himself sometimes, because Jacoby Brissett is capable of making some of these throws, but he's not capable of making them on a consistent basis. I think he's a hard quarterback to call plays for, Kev, because you call a play knowing he's capable of running it, but you also know he could just destroy that play in a heartbeat. And that's what he did yesterday on so many occasions. I think that if Deshaun Watson is the starting quarterback of this team and they're 2-4 at this point of this schedule, I am majorly concerned. The reason I'm not majorly concerned is the second I said coming into the season that Jacoby Brissett is your quarterback for 11 games, they're not making the playoffs. I've said from the beginning, I don't see how they're going to make the playoffs with Jacoby Brissett as the quarterback for 11 games. I said if Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback, I would like their chances of making the playoffs more, although Jacoby has played closer to Jimmy Garoppolo than I anticipated. But how about that loss? I'm waiting for you to get to that point yesterday.
I don't need you to say nothing, bro.
I know. You're against quarterbacks that win. I get it. But no, seriously. Cleveland, I have a hard time putting anything on Stefanski right now. I can't judge a head coach by what they do with a backup quarterback over a long period of time. However, yesterday, Kev, I just thought yesterday was Stefanski's worst game this season. Some guy on Facebook is just constantly just ripping him. I'm like, if he's making these decisions with Deshaun Watson at quarterback, now we got a problem. I think it's very tough to call an offense for this team who has a quarterback that's very, very capable at times and very, very capable of blowing a game up. I think he's terrified to make any kind of play. Baker was not capable of making some of these plays happen that Jacoby is, which is weird to say. But, I just thought yesterday was just horrific. The reason I'm not defending him right now is because that team quit. The last 6 minutes, if you as a head coach cannot keep your team motivated to play and play hard, they didn't just, let it get away from them late in the game. They quit. From special teams to defense, that touchdown that the Patriots literally just walked into the end zone. I mean, he wasn't even challenged. Absolutely embarrassing, absolutely ridiculous. Stevenson, again, talking about that late touchdown where he just literally he jogged into the end zone, Kev, because that's how little pressure he felt coming after him. They quit defensively, they quit offensively, and they quit on special teams on the punt return. I mean, how you just in that situation just let a ball fall right through your arms. There's no excuse for it. I do put that on Kevin Stefanski because it's not just one side of the ball that quit. It was all three phases of the ball. They quit on him. That's a problem. Not saying they should fire him, but this is the first time where I've really thought, okay, Stefanski, that was a crap game from you yesterday.
45-7, 38-15. Those are the last two final scores for the New England Patriots versus the Cleveland Browns. There's no doubt about what Bill Belichick is. Bill Belichick is the best football coach of all time. And it's instances like this that people have to be reminded of that. Because if you look on paper, simply on paper, talent-wise, the Browns have the New England Patriots by a mile, even without Deshaun Watson. You can't name 5 guys on the Patriots. You just can't. These aren't star names. These weren't star names coming out of college or anything like that. But Belichick had a rookie quarterback throw for 300 and 2 tutties. Everybody and their mama, including myself, and I claim to know a lot about football, thought, well, shoot, hey, the Patriots run the ball well. The defense for the Browns gives up a ton of running yards. They did that with the Chargers. They did the same thing with the Falcons. Of course, they're going to come out running the ball. They did, but then in the second half, they went to the short passing game, and it just diced them up. And then you want to talk about the Cleveland Browns quitting. That's a direct reflection on the coach.
Yep, that's why I said that's my final straw on that.
When it's every aspect of the game, like it's a difference when, like, all right, man, the defense is just getting lit up or the offensive line just can't block. But then when it's everybody out there just making bad plays, it's a direct reflection on the coach. I know we're going to talk about college football in the next hour, but part of the reason that Alabama lost is because of Nick Saban. That team is poorly coached. Look at the games that they had close games with. Go look at that Texas game that had over 15 penalties. Go look at the game that just played against Tennessee. They had double-digit penalties for over 100 yards in both games. That's a direct reflection on coaching. They win a ton of games because they have so much more talent than everybody else, but all those penalties are going to catch up to them, and it caught up to Bama on Saturday. So speaking from the Cleveland Browns perspective, when you got Nick Chubb and he gets 12 carries, so then automatically your thought process, well, shoot, they lost 38-15. Well, guess what? It was a close game at halftime. You know what I'm saying? The score was, 10-6? So obviously you should come out and still establish the run game with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. That was not there. So for the Cleveland Browns, it's time to start looking at everybody because you got the Ravens and then you got the Cincinnati Bengals. Your season is these next 2 games. You don't win both. You got to win both because this carrot down the street named Deshaun Watson, when he comes back, what is he coming back to? What is the team's record what he's coming back to? If they're like, I forget whatever the week that he comes back. If
week
they only
13, it's against the Texans.
If they only have 3 or 4 wins, 3 or 4 wins at that point, then playoffs are not happening. So this would be all about him knocking the rust off. So you got to start winning some ball games here to even have a chance when Deshaun gets back.
All right, 518-1410, 518-1410, whether it's Bengals, whether it's Browns, thoughts on any of the 2 games from yesterday. We'll take your calls coming up here in a moment. Now, I see people in here talking about some guy says 40 throws with a backup quarterback and you aren't blaming his play calling. I guess you're right in a way. He can't even game plan decently. Some guy, me and you get along. We agree on a lot of stuff. Me and you are totally on opposite sides on this. You do realize that when you are down in a game, you're not going to continue to hand the ball off, right? Like you do know that, right? Like this is what I was talking about. Like, so I said yesterday, Kev, that if Deshaun Watson's on this roster right now, this team is 4-2 and not 2-4. And someone said, well, Deshaun Watson coming back isn't going to make the defense any better. And I said, you're right, but they would have a quarterback that would be able to at least overcome some of the defensive deficiencies. That's not Jacoby Brissett. You know what I mean? Like when a team gives up 11 points in the final 90 seconds and Jacoby Brissett is then required against the Jets to march down the field for another game-winning drive after they already had an 11-point lead, that's not a Jacoby Brissett issue, or that's having a backup quarterback issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I'm trying to talk about. Like against, the Chargers, again, those plays, having to rely on him to march you down the field to make big plays late in games when you're just letting one of the worst rushing teams in football, the Chargers, just ram it down you, right? Like he's not good enough to overcome those issues. Deshaun Watson will be. The Browns defense still would be as bad as they were against the Chargers. The offense, as they weren't bad, they put up 28 points. It's not as if they were horrible. They'd be even better with Deshaun. That's my point. So yes, they do beat the Chargers with Deshaun. Oh, that doesn't make the defense better. Yes, but it makes the offense better to the point to where it doesn't come down to that final drive. The Jets, it wanted to come down to that final drive. The Patriots yesterday, Kev, they're not only putting up 9 points or 6 points and a half if they have Deshaun Watson. By the way, yesterday was a mental thing more than defensive issues and backup quarterback issues. They quit. So I'm not saying they win with Deshaun Watson, but that game is completely different yesterday. That offense is completely different yesterday. I think with Njoku and Amari Cooper, those guys are perfect weapons for Deshaun Watson when he comes back. They've been solid weapons for him to use in the meantime. Talking about Jacoby Brissett. This is not an excuse making, guys. This is just the reality of it. This is why, so Kev, you heard some guy or you read some guy said 40 times is too much to throw. You're right. It is too much to throw, but you're not going to run back into a football game when you're trailing, right? Like,
right.
How many teams run the ball? This is why the Bengals have had to rely on throwing. That's why they had to throw the ball so much in that first half, because with the way the defense started out for Cincinnati, they felt like their best shot to stay in that ball game before it opened up to a 3-possession deficit was, we got to keep throwing that. Our best shot to stay in this game right now is to keep throwing it, keep trying to get Jamar Chase the football. So I get it. Not every game is the same. I don't always agree that, Jacoby's throwing it too much. Well, if they have the lead and he's throwing it that much, Kev, then I have a problem with it. But they're not having the lead. So last thing on this, the defense is not going to be better with Deshaun Watson coming back, but the margin for error is significantly more. They have more room they can make up deficiencies on the defensive side with his ability to throw the football. That is something that they can't do right now with Jacoby Brissett. That's not excuse making. That's just the reality of it, period.
Yeah, they got their work cut out for them, because it seems like every time the Ravens lose a game, they win the next one. And then you obviously have the Cincinnati Bengals coming to Cleveland on Halloween night. So these two games are critical for the Browns.
All right. 518-1410, 518-1410. Kev, who is up?
You got Jim and Huber.
What line?
2.
All right. Jim and Huber, kick us off, man. How are you, sir? Jim, you there? All right, we got Jesse. Jesse, how are you?
Yeah, hey, what's going on, fellas? Justin and Kev Nash. How was your weekend?
Solid.
Crappy.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I'm guessing Justin's wasn't. Well, Justin, I don't like the depression in your voice right now over these Browns. I'm gonna try to sell you an olive branch here. Yep.
Sometimes, hold up. When I hear the pep in your voice, sometimes I feel like you're excited to just jab me. So hurry up. Let's get it over with. What you got?
Yep. You nailed it. Okay. But hey, Justin, a loss is a loss. We all know that. And after watching the Browns defense again, I think they really passed.
You didn't break the rules. So.
That's what I was going for. I think the Browns defense really passes the eye test. So, and it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Like, even though they might be on an oxygen tank and kilometer number 1 right now, I really think the Browns are still going to get a first-round bye in the playoffs, and they're going to be perfectly fine. I don't understand what the depression is in your voice right now.
Tell them, Jesse, it's early in the season.
Yeah, I had to work all day yesterday. Did the Bengals end up winning or not? Because I had bad reception. I haven't got to look it up yet.
You good? You got it all out? You feel better?
I guess I'm not number 4 this week, right?
Your wife must be so proud dating a stand-up comedian like yourself, man. I tell you, whatever puts food on the table, my friend.
Have a good night, though.
That's what I thought. 518-1410, 518-1410. All right, folks, good stuff. We will get back We will get back into the NFL conversation coming up around the corner. We're going to talk a little baseball, though. Al Pawlowski, who's going to join us coming up in 5 minutes, a little later than we promoted, just getting a hold of him. We're going to move this to 4:10 now. So here in the next 5 minutes, we're going to talk a little Guardians baseball. The Guardians and the Yankees, Game 5 tonight, Cap. Game 5. So we have that coming up around the corner.
Are you a rally cap guy?
I don't know. I don't know. The Reds haven't played in a big game in so long. I don't know what I am, to be quite honest with you.
I am not a rally cap guy. This cap costs $45. I would not be turning it inside out.
Never mind. So I'm like, I'm going to go on vacation, spend $2,000 and $45 on my hat. Look at me. I'm Kevin Nash.
All right. Hey, man, that's what the going rate for a hat is today.
It is. I got a new hat at the Browns game. That's what this one is. About to take it back. All right, 518-1410. I'm going to go through these and read more in the comment section and get back to this here in a little bit. Look, bottom line is Kevin Stefanski, do I think he's coach of the year? Not by any means. But if he was a real bum coach, this bad team with a backup quarterback would not be top 6 in the NFL. They moved from 5th to 6th, the 6th most efficient offense in the NFL after yesterday's embarrassing performance, Kev. You have to be doing something right to have the 6th most efficient offense in football. The problem is they have a backup quarterback. You have a backup quarterback, what do you want to do with a backup quarterback? I don't care how well the Cowboys are playing with Cooper Rush. I don't care that they lost last night. I don't care that the Patriots just won a couple games with a backup quarterback. Are you going to make the playoffs with a backup quarterback? You're going to win a Super Bowl with what? No. So stop with that. Stop using small 3 or 4 game sample sizes to try to eliminate common sense on how football works. All right, let's get to baseball. Let's talk about, what I always love is, we're a Reds affiliate, and we just talk playoffs every year with the Reds in the play. Oh, no, that's not the Reds. It's the Guardians. The Guardians had a $30 million payroll coming into the season, Kev. The Reds have a $160 million payroll. The Guardians' payroll, what is it telling us, Kev? Are they rebuilding? Their payroll, to me, says they're rebuilding. Couldn't them winning in the playoffs almost hurt them heading into the offseason? I know that sounds silly. We'll get into that. We're going to talk with Al Pawlowski next. Don't go anywhere.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Everyday values are at only one place, Frickers. Monday, boneless frickin' chicken wings. Tuesday, traditional frickin' chicken wings. Wednesday is all about that steak. Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks. Frickers, where kids 10 and under eat free every day. Remember draft beer specials, everyday values, and kids eat free every day. The home for money-saving value is the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. If you've been waiting to buy, now is the time. For a limited time, we have 22 Honda Passports and 22 Honda Pilots with financing as low as 1.9% and 2022 Honda Ridgelines with financing as low as 2.9%. Remember, we can get the Honda you're looking for. We are taking deposits on current scheduled in-build new Hondas every day. See me, Sales Manager Jason High, for all the details. We're on Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
Progressive Snapshot can save you money based on how you drive and how much you drive. So the safer you drive, the more money you could save. Now, if you didn't hear that because you were yelling at another car while driving, let me say it again. You need to calm down. Yelling is just making everyone as stressed out as you are and letting them all know that you definitely aren't trying to save with Progressive Snapshot. And if you did hear it the first time because you weren't yelling at another car, nice work. You'd love Snapshot from Progressive because it rewards safe drivers. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California and North Carolina or from all agents.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. Looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
The best audio entertainment this fall is on Audible. It's the home of storytelling with audiobooks, exclusive originals, popular podcasts, and more. All in one app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code IMPACT at checkout. That's harrys.com, code IMPACT. Enjoy.
Everyday values are at only one place, Frickers. Monday, boneless frickin' chicken wings. Tuesday, traditional frickin' chicken wings. Wednesday is all about that steak. Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks. Frickers, where kids 10 and under eat free every day. Remember draft beer specials, everyday values, and kids eat free every day. The home for money-saving value is the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
Service. It starts at our streets and in the hearts of those who heed the call. For Sharon Kennedy, it started with a police badge, risking her life to protect the lives of others. But her service didn't stop there. After putting herself through law school, Kennedy found a new way to serve our state, helping Ohio families and protecting the less fortunate as a disciplined attorney. Today, Sharon Kennedy wears a judge's robe on our state Supreme Court, but her dedication to street-level service hasn't wavered an inch. Kennedy applies the law fairly and compassionately from the bench and works with Ohio's veterans to get them the care and support they deserve. That's why Kennedy enjoys widespread support from law enforcement all across our state, including Ohio's Fraternal Order of Police and dozens of local sheriffs. Heeding the call, Sharon Kennedy for Ohio Supreme Court.
Paid for by Kennedy for Ohio.
The best audio entertainment this fall is on Audible. It's the home of storytelling with audiobooks, exclusive originals, popular podcasts, and more. All in one app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We've been a Cincinnati Reds affiliate for quite some time, and I don't even know what it's like to talk about the Reds in the postseason at this point. But luckily, we have another team here in the state of Ohio that knows how to play deep into the postseason when it comes to Major League Baseball. The Cleveland Guardians, the New York Yankees, Game 5 tonight. Hopefully, I saw some weather is potentially impacting that, but we'll talk about that now as we welcome in Al Pawlowski. He's the host of Guardians Live. Al, welcome in, sir. How are you?
Hey, fellas. Great to be here with you.
Al, first of all, thank you again for hanging out with us today. Now, again, Game 5 tonight. I want to rewind all the way back to in February, spring training, heading into spring training. When you looked at everything that was going on, star players leaving left and right, which is not really a new thing to this team, obviously, but they get the big contract done. Not a big number on their payroll. Did you ever expect that we'd be talking about a Game 5 between the Guardians and the Yankees here in the middle of October right now?
Well, it certainly seemed unlikely back then. I mean, you knew that they had a lot of young talent coming up. The question was, with all young talent, number one, would they be able to develop and get close to their ceilings? And then number two, how long would it take? Well, it turns out that most of them have been able to develop and approach their ceilings, and then they've also been able to do it much quicker, I think, than many people thought. You can look at the pitchers, the hitters. Seemed whatever the Guardians needed this year, especially when it came to calling up some of these young hitters, even as late September, like Will Brennan, for example, who had a key pinch hit on Saturday night in Game 3. They've all been able to contribute. They've all been able to come through when needed. So that's been the big difference. But yeah, if you would have asked me back in February or March if I thought this team would be playing a deciding Game 5 against the New York Yankees in October, I would have said that's probably unlikely. But boy, now that it's happened and you look back on it, you can see how the development took place. But I don't think anybody had the foresight, 8-9 months ago.
Be it that the Guardians play a different brand of baseball than everybody else in Major League Baseball, and you hear guys like Michael Kay and Rollins talk about that they're lucky to beat the Yankees so many times in this series already. What do you make of that?
Well, a little bit of it is sour grapes on their part, because they look at the payroll and they look at the talent they have, and they think it's their birthright to just go to the World Series this year. And it's like, well, guys, you know what? There's some other teams out there that play a game maybe a little bit differently than what you're used to, and they can come in and beat you. I understand a portion of what they're saying. I mean, sure, to somebody that hasn't been with this team all season long and looks at it from the outside, and a group like them who's basically following the Yankees, sees their brand in the American League East, they're not going to be able to fully appreciate what a team like the Cleveland Guardians has done and what the organization has done putting this together. As far as somebody like me who gets to see this team day in and day out, and gets to see Terry Francona manage day in, day out, and for years see him and see the front office and the way they've been able to build a Major League Baseball team and grow their own talent and develop those players, it's been a joy to watch. I mean, a lot of these kids, that's what they are. I mean, they're kids, but you watch them play and you love it. You love their enthusiasm for it. They've got quite a brotherhood in that clubhouse. They all really do like one another. They pull for one another. They play for one another. Somebody brought this up the other day, and I can't remember where I heard it, but I thought it was brilliant. In that, you take a look at these sorts of players and the way they've played together this year. It is so unlikely to happen at the top level of professional sports because there's so much individualism. But there truly is a group of guys here with the Cleveland Guardians that believes in one another, plays for one another. I cover college basketball. I do the play-by-play for Cleveland State. In many ways, and I mean this in a good sense, it feels like a group of college guys, and where they have that, that brotherhood, that camaraderie, and they really do want to play for each other and accomplish a goal.
Talking about tonight's game, all hands on deck, right? Because, there's no series versus the Houston Astros without winning tonight. All pitchers are on deck for tonight?
Absolutely, yeah. Everybody's going to be available as far as I know. Cal Quantrill, who pitched yesterday for Cleveland, he won't be available, and Tristan McKenzie, who pitched on Saturday, most likely won't be available, but he did have a day off, so I guess you could see him in an emergency situation if they go 20 innings tonight. But yeah, everybody else is going to be available. Shane Bieber should be available for a couple of innings if you need him, but he's slated to go on Wednesday night, and you still gotta keep an eye to the future in mind. But again, if you play a deep game, Shane Bieber could give you a couple of innings tonight. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. I just hope Cleveland wins somehow. That's first and foremost. I think it would be a great story. But, number two, let's hope that it could be the regular guys, the Steffens, the Karen Jacks, the Clases closing out this game.
Yeah, me being from Cleveland, this team is so different from the team that I grew up on with Albert Bell and Kenny Lofton and the guys, and then the team that just went to the World Series back in 2016. In your eyes, what makes this team so different from the others?
Well, number one, the power that those 90s teams had, obviously, 1 through 9, pretty much anybody that came to the plate could leave the yard. Bell and Tomey and Manny Ramirez were the most prominent of those power hitters. But for a while, at the end of his career, they had Eddie Murray. Kenny Lofton could still leave the yard. Carlos Baerga could leave the yard. Paul Sorrento had a great year in 95, but he's batting eighth, and he could leave the yard. So the power was the one thing that stood out. But the difference, on the other side of the coin, the starting pitching is better than those mid-90s teams. Those mid-90s teams had some good starting pitchers with Dennis Martinez and Charlie Nagy and Oral Hershiser. But this starting pitching as a unit, I think, is a little bit better. What's comparable are the bullpens.
Right.
I mean, I know that Jose Macy eventually ran into tough times with Cleveland.
That name
fans.
still gives
What
me
happened in
chills.
yeah, what happened in that 97 World Series? But you look at Jose Mesa and what he did in 95, and then look at Emmanuel Clase and what he's doing this year. I mean, those two guys are very comparable. You bring them in late, they've got some great stuff, and they're going to get you out. But that's what stands out the most for me. Plus, at that time, too, it was a different time because Cleveland baseball had been down for so long. Until 95, they hadn't played a postseason game since 1954 when they got swept by the Giants in the World Series. They've played a lot of postseason games since then, so playing in the postseason isn't strange to Cleveland baseball fans, but the type of team they have, and this one is so young compared to that team. Those guys were all in their prime. They were still young in general, but they were all, hitting their prime right at the same moment. They were all power hitters. This is a young team that what's scary, I think, for the rest of the American League, and maybe to the guys in New York that are looking at this team going, well, what are they doing here now, is the fact that they should only get better. So if I were going to compare and contrast, I think those are the things that stand out the most for me.
We have Al Pawlowski with us here, host of Guardians Live on Bally Sports Network, hanging out with us here ahead of tonight's Game 5 between the Guardians and the Yankees. Al, you were talking about the youth of this team, and that's what separates it from previous, top teams in the history, in the franchise's history. I saw an article earlier today I was reading. They were called the Cleveland Who, just talking about all the young faces on this roster and how important it is, for the franchise after just rebranding to the Guardians. You have a lot of new faces on this roster and getting a lot of attention now because of the fact they're getting these primetime games against the New York Yankees. But you look at this Yankees lineup, the Cleveland Who, but this Yankees lineup stars from top to bottom. I mean, you watching this series right now, I mean, there's not an easy out in that lineup. The Guardians have done a great job, of course, being able to go against Aaron Judge, who's definitely cooled down. He finally was able to put the bat on the ball last night. But your overall takeaways of just how the Guardians, with a bunch of who's, matching up against this Yankee team, just full of star power from top to bottom.
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job at neutralizing bats, other than Harrison Bader, who, hit 3 home runs against them in the series. And it always seems that way, doesn't it? There's always some guy who joins some team late that goes to the postseason who you know of. I mean, obviously, when Harrison Bader was in St. Louis and coming up, he was one of the top prospects. And when he first got to the league, you thought, okay, this kid's going to be pretty good. But ultimately didn't work out for him there. Winds up in New York, and suddenly he looks like he's realizing that potential. We thought that we saw 2-3 years ago. I remember when St. Louis, the Cardinals came to Cleveland for a series, and I watched him play, and he was real hot. And I said, my goodness, this guy's going to be a great hitter. I'd love to have him in Cleveland. Well, here we are in 2022, and he's in New York. But yeah, they've done a great job of pitching to the Yankees hitters' holes. And as good as Aaron Judge is, he still has some holes in those swing. And they found him, and they're able for the most part. He did hit that 1 home run the other night, but for the most part, they've been able to keep him in check. Rizzo is always a dangerous hitter. He's done well against Cleveland. Yeah, he did well against them when he was with the Cubs. He's doing well against them now. But finding the holes, and I mean that's another thing that this organization is just so good at. Their advanced scouting is good. When you come up through the system, studying other hitters, or if you're a hitter, studying other pitchers. That they've just got this thing. We in Cleveland call it pitcher university for the pitching team, but really it's almost like Cleveland Guardians University. It's you're doing a lot more than just playing the game on the field. The preparation is so big, and these young kids that have come up, it's instilled in them. And I think that's carried over now to when you play a team like the Yankees in this series. And again, for the most part, now they've had some big hits, but for the most part, you're right. They've been able to neutralize these guys, at least everybody not named Harrison Bader.
Real quick, before we send you out here, the payroll tells us, well, this is a rebuilding team, right? Who are the Cleveland Guardians, Al? Like the payroll says this is a rebuilding team, but we also know how this franchise can be when it comes to, spending a lot of money. Who are the Cleveland Guardians? Is this a rebuilding team? Is this a team that's just ahead of schedule? Is this a team that's able to maybe capitalize on spending less because they have such a good farm system and eye for talent, as you alluded to? How do you explain what we're watching right now with the Guardians? Because as a fan of the Cincinnati Reds, who spend $160 million and had the worst season in franchise history this year, I know payroll's not everything, but the payroll tells us they're rebuilding, but they seem to be ahead of schedule. Who are the Guardians in your opinion?
Well, first, to answer your question in one word, I would say yes to all of your questions. exactly what this organization is. The reason they're so successful, and I've seen this firsthand now over the years, the top reason, number one, is when guys are at their prime and just starting to come down. And then as a consequence, if you look at the history of free agency and big contracts, that's when they generally sign the big money. They know they have to trade them at that moment because their value will never be higher, and you're not going to overpay at that point if you don't keep them, and then you're stuck at the end of those contracts because, I mean, look at all these long-term contracts that have been signed. Every single one of them at the end are regrettable. Every single one. I fail to see one where you look at it and say, boy, I'm glad we signed this guy 5 years ago to a multi-$100 million contract. And then, we still got 5 more years and look at the production. Well worth it. It's just, it never seems to happen. So this organization got that quickly. You can look at Oakland. You can look at Tampa Bay. They do similar things too. They trade people before they come down and before you have to spend so much money on them that you're hamstrung. And now you can't go out there and make the moves you need to make. For example, Jose Ramirez. Yes, he signed at a club discount for the 7-year deal that he signed. But still, Cleveland had the sort of money to feel comfortable offering him even that in the market size that Cleveland is, which is obviously similar to Cincinnati. You still have the comfortability of that because you didn't have all these big contracts on your books. So you're able to, one, get out from under those contracts before they're even signed. So they're never signed in the first place. And obviously a guy like Jose Ramirez, for what they signed him for, that's the type of long-term deal you want to do. And then secondly, when you make those trades, you get guys back that are pretty darn close to being major leaguers. Look at the Mike Clevenger deal in 2020, in which they got 6 players back. And we've already heard from 4 out of those 5 on a quality level. Look at Cal Quantrill. I mean, you can make an argument that Mike Clevenger for Cal Quantrill straight up was a steal based on what you got back value-wise. Cal Quantrill, a little bit better, a little bit more consistent pitcher than Mike Clevenger this year, even when Clevenger's healthy. But Clevenger's been hurt. Clevenger cost a whole lot more money. But Cal Quantrill, quite simply, is better. Okay, well, then you still got guys like Gabriel Arias, who had a big game on Saturday, another rookie who has now come up that is coveted by some other franchises that would love to have a guy like that. Owen Miller, who's made contributions this year. Austin Hedges, who I understand is not your most consistent hitter, but he's been an anchor for this baseball team in the clubhouse and a pretty good defensive catcher, especially at calling a baseball game. So you got all these guys back that are key members of this group, and that's just one trade that I mentioned. There's been several others that they've made over the last few years. So they got off the guys early. They got young guys in that were close to Major League ready, and then they plugged in, and they played them, and they worked. And that's been the key. And a lot of teams, when I look around, they don't do that. Look at the Detroit Tigers when they signed Miguel Cabrera to that contract. Hey, Mickey was a great hitter for 10 years, probably for a series of 8 to 10 years, the most dangerous hitter in the American League. But when they signed him to that deal, he was, I don't want to say he was done, but he was pretty close to done. So now for the last 5-6 years, you're stuck with that contract in a guy whose production is slowly declining, and you can't really go out there and do anything else. Cleveland has avoided doing that. At the moment, it feels good. You sign Miguel Cabrera and all he accomplished for your organization. You feel great to give him that long contract, and you feel good about him being here for the rest of his career. Mm-hmm. But boy, then a couple of years after you sign that, you look back and go, man, this put us in a position where we aren't able to go out there and make the moves we want, or we weren't able to get an infusion of young talent that we needed and that we could have used right now. Cleveland can see the future, I would say, as good as any Major League Baseball franchise, and that's why they're where they are today. And they only need one season of quote-unquote rebuilding because they can thread the needle with the talent that they've brought in.
So you're saying the Guardians won't be doing a Bobby Bonilla deal anytime soon?
Correct. That is 100% correct. That will not be happening.
All right. Al Pawlowski, host of Guardians Live Bally Sports Network. Al, we appreciate you. You talked about the Guardians being able to see the future. Well, can you see the future? Are we going to see the Guardians and Astros in the American League Championship Series?
I would love to see it. I'll tell you what, guys, I could see tonight's game going either way. Cleveland's got some, I think they have deeper pitching than New York. That's going to play a factor tonight. But at Game 5 in New York, you're going to have a lot of things to go against, including, maybe not the best strike zone in the late innings for you. Hopefully, Cleveland goes out there, scores some runs early for Aaron Savali. He gets off to a good start. They get the ball to that bullpen, and the bullpen pitches like they have all season, then I feel pretty good about it. But this Yankees team, they do have some dangerous home run hitters, and if it's a close game, that can sometimes make the difference. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a good game either way.
Man, Kev, that was fun talking about a playoff baseball team on the show today. We don't get to do that often, but how about that? Al Pawlowski, host of Guardians Live, Bally Sports. Al, thanks so much. Great hearing from you. We'll talk soon. Thanks, sir.
All right, fellas, I had fun. We'll do it again.
Thank you.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be partly cloudy, a high near 48. Tonight's going to be cloudy with a slight chance of rain and sleet, a low near 34. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain and sleet, a high near 48. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
At Progressive, you can get 24/7 protection, even if you break the space-time continuum.
Ted, wake up. Huh? You look exactly like me. I am you, Ted, from the future. You need to call Progressive. What? Why? Well, they have 24/7 protection when you bundle your home and auto. And my teleportation cube just smashed into your car. Wait, you crashed into my car? Technically, it's our car.
Progressive offers more than a great price when you bundle home and auto. We offer round-the-clock protection, which literally means anytime. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers, and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens Find Rx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Food Day Nation, Betfred has come all the way from England to the great state of Ohio with over 50 years of sports betting experience. No emperors, no movie stars, just a sportsbook you can trust. The Betfred Sportsbook app will be available on January 1st, 2023. Until then, download the Bengals app or go to betfredsports.com and have a chance to win Bengals tickets and exclusive merchandise. Official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Here's another remarkable success story from QC Kinetics. This one from Chad, who hurt his knee at the gym one day, and it just kept on hurting for months.
From my high school football and wrestling days, I already had a little bit of damage in there, but this just sent it over the edge.
Chad tried traditional treatments with no improvement when he turned to the non-surgical regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
It was really fascinating how they did their work, and the science behind it was very intriguing, and it works. Extracting the cure out of my own body blew my mind. It's like I'm brand new again. It was fantastic.
That's because the QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments use your body's own healing power to restore damaged tissue in your hips, shoulders, back, and knees, providing long-lasting relief.
Now I'm back at the gym. I'm 100% feeling great.
If you're tired of suffering with pain from arthritis or injury, call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Hey, Buckeye fans, as the official wing sponsor of your Ohio State Buckeyes, Roosters is giving away 12 trips for two to this year's Buckeye Bowl game. Each trip comes complete with airfare, hotel, gift bag, and 2 tickets to the big game. One bowl prize winner chosen each week, along with other cool Roosters weekly prizes. So register every week at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Official contest rules at roosterswings.com.
Do you enjoy sports betting and fantasy sports? If so, it's important to know that gambling's not a way to pay bills or earn income. Learn how to set limits and recognize the warning signs for problem gambling by visiting beforeyoubet.org. You can also assess your risk by taking the responsible gambling quiz. Beforeyoubet.org provides free resources to help keep gambling safe and fun for Ohioans. Be a fan with a plan this season and go to beforeyoubet.org to learn more.
Hi, I'm Coach Jim Place, and I'm proud to support Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge. I've known Tony and his wife Annie for a long time. Something that makes Tony and the great Annie so special is they are a team. They truly care about the citizens of Montgomery County. They were born here, they're raising their family here, and the citizens of Montgomery County are something they care very deeply about. That's why on November 8th, I'm voting for Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge.
Paid for by citizens to elect Shane.
Want to make tonight's dinner a true winner? Just stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 12-piece family meal at a great price. You'll get 12 pieces of our classic Famous Recipe Chicken that's honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and pressure-cooked just right, along with 3 of our large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. This is temptation times 12. Get the family meal that's big on flavor and on value with the 12-piece family meal. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
There are 3 100-win teams in the National League. None of them are left standing. There's only one 100 team left in the Major League Baseball playoffs, and that's the team that the winner of tonight's Game 5 between the Yankees and the Guardians.
Trash can boys.
Of course, it'll be the Houston Astros. Well, this is why I always say, like, it's annoying that the teams that get busted for doing some shady stuff always seem to be the best teams.
Right.
Like the New England Patriots. If there was ever a team in football that did not need to cheat to win, it was the New England Patriots, right? And for them to always be caught up in a scandal, it was just like I don't think Tom Brady's dynasty in New England was because of flat footballs and drones, right? Like, no, they were a dynasty because he was one of the best, if not the best quarterback of all time. That's why they were a dynasty. It wasn't because of flat footballs and drones, but Tom Brady being caught up in a flat foot in Deflategate and Spygate and all this stuff, like that's just annoying, right? Like what the hell? Same thing.
It's like, why are you doing that? You don't have to. You're already good.
Yeah, and it's like the same thing with the Houston Astros. I've always been a big supporter of the Astros, even after the cheating scandal, because what I kept trying to tell myself was, yeah, but they didn't win those games because of that. They won those games because I think probably if you look back over the last 10 years, and I know a good chunk of that 10 years, they were still rebuilding, but I'd say at least the last 7 years, Kev, that's the best organization in baseball, not even close. For them to go through that scandal and still be a top team in baseball. Like I'm pulling for the Astros. It'll be interesting to see if they get to the Guardians, and I'll have to really reevaluate at that point. But I'm a big, huge Dusty Baker fan.
Right.
I'm pulling for him to get to the World Series. I'm pulling for him to finally get that World Series because he's been there a few times. I just want him to hurry up and get it so that he, you know what I mean? Like, I think it'd be justified. You could argue one of the best ever. I don't want to get into the best ever. I don't know how we calculate the best managers ever in baseball, but he's up there. There's no way you can convince me otherwise. That's why I think the Reds organization is as stupid as they are because they thought they could do better. And look where we're at. So, with that being said, tonight's Game 5, the Yankees and the Guardians. I had meant to ask this to Al, and I forgot, but I did ask him, who are the Cleveland Guardians? The Guardians, you look at their payroll, Kev. I think they finished the season with a payroll at $82 million, but that's the entire organization. As far as the active roster, okay, $60 million is the active roster. That is high. The only 2 teams have a lower payroll. That's the Baltimore Orioles and the Oakland Athletics, 2 of the worst teams in baseball. Then you look at the team above the Guardians, the Pirates and the Marlins. Rebuilding. The Marlins, the Guardians payroll is telling you they're rebuilding, but they're anything but rebuilding. They're a game away from getting to the American League Championship Series and then are a series away from getting back to the World Series after they were there just back in 2016 with a vastly different roster.
Right.
Like, this doesn't happen in any other sport it doesn't happen in this sport. Baseball's a weird sport. Like, this shouldn't be happening. For instance, now I know I said earlier, payroll doesn't tell the whole story. Well, look at the top 5. The Mets, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Phillies, the Padres, all playoff teams. Look at the top 10. After that, you have the Red Sox and White Sox, okay? But then you have the Braves, the Houston Astros, the Cardinals. 8 of the top 10 teams are all in the playoffs, Kev. So I know payroll doesn't mean a World Series, but you could buy a playoff team. You can't buy championships in baseball. Yankees are proof of that. All right. How the Mets and the Dodgers and even the Padres over the last couple of years are proof of that. You could buy a playoff team. You can't buy a championship. You could buy a playoff team. So what I meant earlier, you kind of looked at me weird. I said, could this postseason appearance hurt the Guardians? The reason I think it could hurt the Guardians is what we've talked about. Remember, during the pandemic, I kept saying all these companies downsizing. Responsibilities are then kind of shed to those who are left. And then during the pandemic, the smaller group of people that absorbed a full building's worth of responsibilities took on all those responsibilities, proved over the last 3 years that we could do it on a bare bones staff, right? And we heard this through so many industries. Now these big companies, they don't want to bring people back. They don't want to absolve you from some of those responsibilities, and they don't want to pay you for any more. You're punished because you proved you could do more with less.
You did it before.
So if you're the Guardians and you beat the Yankees, can't that hurt them heading into the postseason? I know this sounds crazy. In the postseason or the off season, I'm sorry. They beat the Yankees tonight. They go to the American League Championship Series and make it interesting. Maybe they get to the World Series. Maybe they win the World Series. And they do that with a $60 million payroll, the 3rd lowest in baseball. I don't think that motivates the Guardians to go spend money. I think they're going to sit back and say, well, damn, we got a World Series. We don't have to win one we don't even have to be back to one for the next 10 years. We could ride off this World Series like they did in the 16 one. That's what I mean by that. Could this postseason or this success almost hurt the Guardians? Because this front office should be looking to spend money now, but they never spend money.
Right.
So that's why I'm curious. Does this hurt them? Because, hey, we don't need to spend money. Look what we're doing.
So for one, they have one of the lowest payrolls because they have the youngest team in baseball. So obviously you don't have a whole bunch of veterans that have gone through arbitration and everything like that in order for them to get paid. So that's part of the reason they have a low payroll. Number 2, they shouldn't do what you're saying is be extra cheap because they haven't been extra cheap in the previous regimes of this team. Think back, obviously they went to the World Series in 2016. Well, leading up to that in 2012 and 2013, they were terrible. And they still had a bad organization, bad players.
Yep.
And then those younger players started playing better. Lindor and everybody else like that. So when they did have a chance to get there, that's when they spent the bag and got more players on the team. And once those players started to show like, all right, this was just a short run, this window is over, shipped them on up out of Dodge for young talent. And then that young talent turned into guys like drawing a blank on his name, Matt Straw. So you got those guys on the team now. So I don't think that they will. I think they're going to stand pat because this is the one organization in Cleveland that has basically been the same for the last couple decades. They've been running it the exact same way. You can look at what the Cleveland Cavaliers have done. They've been very sporadic. So with the LeBron coming, with LeBron leaving, then LeBron coming back, and now this new kind of found glory with the Cleveland Cavaliers, they've been bouncing all over the place. Obviously, the Cleveland Browns have bounced all over the place. This has been the most stable organization in Cleveland and is the most consistent. So I would imagine that they would just keep continuing to do more of the same. Because, I mean, you look at a guy like Lindor, as great as Frankie Lindor was for the Guardians, well, Indians at the time, I think they played it right. I think they played it right. The Cleveland baseball team.
Guardians.
I see. He
My
never.
God, I can't believe you said that.
Did he ever play for the Guardians? He never played for the Guardians.
This is the 1 year only.
He never played for the Guardians.
The first year of that. Yeah.
And so I think they played it right. I think they played it right by, we knew Frankie was going to get paid a ton of money. We knew the Guardians were not about to pay him $300-something million. Everybody,
So you're fine that they didn't.
I'm fine with it.
But imagine this team with him. If anything, Kev, they could afford him more than anyone else. That's, you know what I mean? But then again, the Mets aren't hurting.
Right.
But I think that's where, when we talked about, I was pissed off at Guardians fans a week and a half ago because I was annoyed watching their ballpark enjoy themselves because I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. While this poor team here was busting their ass all 162 games long in front of the least amount of fans in the last 30 years in Cleveland, now you want to come in and enjoy yourself for all the hard work that they put in, that you made their season more unenjoyable than it should have been because they're first place team. That's why I'm not anti-Guardians. I'm anti-Guardians fans, not yourself necessarily, because you've been on me about talking more Guardians. I'm like, I'm not a believer. They ain't going to do it. Then they did it. And here we are. Point is, I get it though. As a Guardians fan, I think the more I watch this team, all I'm noticing is who's not here. Man, imagine this team if they did have Francisco Lindor with Ramirez.
But you can't get Josh Naylor. You can't get Stephen Kwan without the trading of Frankie Lindor. You just can't, because those players are turned into. You don't have them without giving him up.
A year and a half?
That's how it worked. At
least works for the damn Guardians, not the Reds.
Yeah.
Playing.
I mean, maybe not. Maybe I may be
85 by the time he gets called
I may
up.
be mistaken about Josh Naylor, but I'm 100% sure that Stephen Kwan is a reflection of what they got for Frankie Lindor, and I want to say Rosario as well. So you don't get those players without giving him up. And eventually, we all know this. I know this. Shane Bieber, this upcoming season is going to be his last with the Guardians. He's going to go get paid. He'll probably get paid by somebody else after next season. Stephen Kwan will be here for probably another 3 or 4 years, and eventually go get paid from somewhere else. Tristan McKenzie, I already know he's not going to be with the Guardians for long term. That's why it's so important to have a good farm system and good management in place. And what makes it so crazy is that Dolan owns the Cleveland Guardians, and obviously Dolan owns the Knicks. And it's obviously two separate people don't have the same mind frame about how they want to run their organization. He lets the baseball people do the baseball stuff, while James Dolan has his fingers in everything. So
real quick, Matt on YouTube, Guardians fan, I'm assuming, but the Guardians acquired Ahmad Rosario, shortstop.
Yeah.
This was for the Lindor trade. Andres Jimenez, Isaiah Green, and Josh Wolf.
Okay. I knew Rosario was. I knew Rosario was for sure. I'm not sure where Josh Naylor came from. I have no idea.
Matt, you're our producer today.
Yeah, hit me the game. Hit me the game, because I don't know where he came from. I always thought that he was a part of the Lindor situation. And
Matt, thank you for that, by the way. But yeah, so it's just one of those. It's like that's how my mind works. I'm watching the Guardians, and I'm like, this is cool. But let me be honest. I'm not going to pretend to be a Guardians aficionado. I don't know who the hell any of these guys are outside of Ramirez. And Tito Francona, by the way, best manager in baseball. I talked about Dusty Baker a little bit ago. The two best managers in baseball, and it's not even close, and it's not a coincidence that the two best managers in baseball happen to be guys that are old school and not the new nerd analytic dudes. I'm not saying they haven't embraced analytics. I think you're not managing today if you don't embrace it to some degree. I'm not saying that they're open arms with it.
Yeah,
And
he's still pulling
Guardians
pictures after the 6th inning and stuff like that. Things that kind of annoy me.
You could do it when you win.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
said,
When you win,
it's fine.
Hey, as long as you win.
But when you have anyways, besides, but I think the two best managers in baseball, not even close, is those two, Tito and Dusty. And obviously there could be Tito versus Dusty in the World Series or the Championship Series coming up. It's a tough Game 5 tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's in the Bronx.
A tough Game 5 tonight. But that's the Guardians got to win in the Bronx. They split that series to get here. So real quick, Matt says, Matt, you're coming through in the clutch today. I appreciate you. The Padres traded Naylor along with Austin Hedges, Cal Quantrill. So that's the haul.
For Clevenger.
So the Clevenger deal, like this run right now that the Guardians run, this is the Clevenger run.
Yes.
Like so now that I've seen that, now I could dig my heels a little deeper on this stance that the Francisco Lindor thing he should still be in Cleveland. They could have afforded, but this reminds me of a decade ago for the Reds. They had a big chunk of money, and it was Joey Votto or Brandon Phillips.
BP.
Now, BP ended up getting some money, but he didn't get the money he wanted, and then there was always resentment between him and Joey Votto because obviously the money went all to Joey Votto, which at the time, they went with the MVP, and Joey Votto is an all-time great. Brandon Phillips is one of the more fan favorites, a great player. He's still one of my all-time favorite players.
One of these days, I'm going to tell my BP story.
Yeah, I'm sure. I have quite a few as well. That includes our old boss, by the way, but that's besides the point. So the Reds went through something similar there, where they found a way to keep both. But they found a way to keep both because one took less than what they were deserved. Now, I think Francisco Lindor is way better than Brandon Phillips, but not even close. But Francisco Lindor should have got paid, and he still should be on this Guardians team. This Guardians team, Kev, is as exciting as some of the more higher-end teams in baseball if they have Ramirez and him with all that talent that they got in the Clevenger trade. So I'm learning about the Guardians as we're having this segment. Thanks to our producer, Matt. Matt, I don't know your last name, but from now on, you're producer Matt from here on out on the show. So
Appreciate it. Hit me the game.
Well, hold on. I'm learning more. Matt says, you couldn't pay Lindor and Jose. I would rather have Jose over Lindor.
Yeah.
Lindor hasn't been the same since he left. Okay, Lindor hasn't been the same since he left, but if he was, why couldn't you pay both? Look at this record low payroll you have. How could you not have both? Matt, I'm just like, what do you mean you couldn't have both? Why couldn't you? And the way baseball works now, you get the contract done, you try to make a little mini 2-3 year run with the guys, and then you move on from them and get prospects here in the next couple of years, unless they put that no trade in there. But that's not as common in baseball contracts as it is in the NBA and others.
Yeah, I was always under the impression that
thank you, Matt, again.
It was just simply the philosophy of the team. The philosophy of the team is not to have to pay one guy, one bat, and pay one pitcher and filter everything else around up and young talent. Like that's always kind of like my thought process about the philosophy of the organization. And, they lean on we're a smaller market card to the fan base and everything like that. And then they go on runs like this. So half of the fan base is like, oh man, look how good we are with the limited resources that we apply to the team. And half of the fan base is satisfied with that. And the other fan base is much like yourself. Well, then why didn't we spend more money? So it's a never ending struggle.
Yeah. And again, the one thing about baseball that's so fascinating to me is for a sport that says you could only win by doing this. I love that the Indians or that the Guardians are doing it different. That while the Yankees, and we just went through the payroll a little bit ago, 8 of the top 10 teams in payroll in baseball in the postseason this year. You could buy a playoff appearance. You could spend a ton of money. So I'm not necessarily saying that the Guardians are 100% wrong for not keeping Lindor. I think it was a mistake not to keep him because I think that, they could afford him. I can understand if you're already in the mid-level range and couldn't afford to keep both, but there's only 2 teams that have a lower payroll than you. Don't tell me you couldn't afford both. Doesn't mean you have to marry him long-term. You could sign him long-term, but you could trade out of it in a couple years after the contract, just like what the Marlins always do when they blew up their roster multiple times throughout those World Series runs. But you look at
Rays too.
Yeah, like the Mets, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Braves, all these teams, they're spending money left and right. That's one way to do it. But the Guardians are saying, well, that's fine, but they're putting a big emphasis like the Rays are on developing talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the most aesthetically pleasing way. I think it's hard to keep fans that way. Like the Guardians, hopefully this run propels them into a new era of popularity within their fans. Kevin, other thing we talked about, people said, well, they got rid of the Indians name and now they're the Guardians. People are mad about changing the name from the Indians to the Guardians. That's why they've checked out. I actually think from a branding perspective, getting to this level of playoffs, playing the Yankees, primetime, Bob Costas on the call, which, by the way, I don't think he's the best. I don't understand that. I like Bob Costas, but Bob Costas as the play-by-play guy for baseball, I'll take our guy Tommy Thrall over here in Cincinnati. I'm not saying he's Bob Costas, but I think he's a better play-by-play guy than Bob Costas. That's just me. But from a branding perspective, I think this is the best thing that could have ever happened to the Guardians, shifting from the Indians to the Guardians, trying to really sell that new brand. No better way to do that than playing the Yankees in prime time in a 5-game series, especially getting to Game 5, playing in New York, all the media attention. I think it's good for the brand of Cleveland moving forward.
Absolutely. And the concourse is open tonight in Cleveland. Obviously, we're in Dayton. We're 3 hours away, but the concourse is going to be open tonight down there at the stadium. They're going to have the team shop open late for people to get up more gear, everything like that. Even though I can't get my hands on a red jersey to save my life, I had to keep wearing my gray one, but it's all good.
All right, 518-1410. 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Just because I feel bad that we are not talking Reds. I don't feel bad that we're not talking Reds. I just feel mad that we're not talking Reds. I'm mad that the Reds aren't doing what the Guardians are doing. I'm jealous that the Reds aren't doing what it is what it is. But I did read an article. John Fay the other day put out an article that one of the must needs or the to-dos that the Reds need to focus on this offseason, Johnny Cueto. Bringing Johnny Cueto back this offseason. Put Johnny Cueto in a rotation with Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Graham Ashcraft. You're not playing to make the playoffs next year, but you could accidentally find yourself there if your pitching staff stays healthy. And, if some bats develop along the way, who knows? But that was the most interesting Reds tidbit that, I'd come across. Interesting. Damn, Bengals beat the Saints backup quarterback. Okay, I just hadn't yelled in a while. Sorry, I woke up in the middle of my sleep last night.
Nightmares?
No, not nightmares. Just ranting. Preparing for the day. Fast asleep. Jumped up out of bed. No Chris Olave. No Michael Thomas. I was like, shut up and go back to bed. All right, we'll be right back. 518-1410 is the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
This is Loyalty Lab Interview 6. Subject, grandmother's loyalty. Margie, what do you do when your grandson misbehaves? Angels don't misbehave. Here we study the most loyal, like you and... Oh, there goes the lamp. Shouldn't have put it there. Shell and the Fuel Rewards program has our members' backs too. It's super easy to save on every gallon. Loyal, just like how you acted like that wasn't his fault. Someone should clean that up before he gets hurt. Yes, loyal, just like that.
10 years of FR.com. Terms and conditions apply.
When Big Mobile charges you an arm and a leg, they're taking your money and your power and your arm and leg. Boost Mobile gives your power back with an unlimited plan for $25 a month on one of America's largest 5G networks. We can't give you back your arm and your leg because we're not qualified surgeons, unless you're an iguana who can grow limbs back. Switch to Boost and get an unlimited plan for $25 a month. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. New customers only. One line, $25 per month with autopay. Additional restrictions apply. See boostmobile.com for details.
Everyday values are at only one place, Frickers. Monday, boneless frickin' chicken wings. Tuesday, traditional frickin' chicken wings. Wednesday is all about that steak. Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks. Frickers, where kids 10 and under eat free every day. Remember draft beer specials, everyday values, and kids eat free every day. The home for money-saving value is the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Body Shop Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. Our technicians have over 125 years of total experience. That means we can repair your vehicle correctly and efficiently. So when you need a dependable body shop, we're here. And we repair all makes and models with new state-of-the-art equipment to get you back on the road quickly. Plus, we offer loaner cars during service and free estimates. Stop by and see us. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, State Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Need to visit the Ohio BMV? Go online first. It could save you a trip. It's now easier and more convenient than ever to get what you need from the BMV online. Need to renew your driver's license? Renew online. And if you need to renew your vehicle registration, visit one of our new BMV Express kiosks or go online. If you do need to visit a BMV agency, use the Get in Line online tool, also found on the website, to save your spot and minimize your time waiting. For more services available online, check out bmv.ohio.gov.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find.
Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is a deal worth celebrating. Your choice of a double-stacked junior bacon cheeseburger or crispy chicken BLT plus 4-piece nugs, small fries, and a small drink, all for $5. U.S. price and participation may vary.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Centerville shutting out Fairmont this past Friday.
Yeah, I was there. You were there too.
Yeah.
Everybody was there. Ryan Drake was there.
Shaw was there.
Wow.
A lot of people were there. Shutout 7-0. So Keith and I this year, KB and I, we have called a Wayne beat Pick Central like 10-9. Fairmont beat Miamisburg, I believe, 10-7. No, I believe we were there. We called that game. Then we called a 7-0 shutout win, Fairmont losing this past weekend. So I've never called three low-scoring games like that in one season before. That's pretty. Remember when the season started and you're like, where are all these games in the 40s and 50s? Those have gone away. As it's gotten colder and teams, like you could tell, passing games shrink a little bit. But how about that Schondelmeyer kid, the quarterback for Springfield? They beat Miamisburg this past week, but he threw for like 350 yards and 3 touchdowns to 3 different receivers. In fact, he's tonight on the Buckeye Roundtable coming up immediately following our show exactly an hour from now, 6:02. He was our player spotlight tonight on the Buckeye Roundtable. But yeah, that kid's unbelievable. So,
Nice. Good for him, man.
But nonetheless, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. We opened up the show today. I got it all out of my system now, so now I could talk a little calmer about it. College football will get you around the corner. Tomorrow's show, ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz comes on as he does every Tuesday to kind of break down the biggest headlines in college football and the NFL. And a lot to get into tomorrow. What did that win for Tennessee tell us? And what did the win that Michigan had over Penn State? Which everyone's saying that's a big win, but didn't Shaw tell us that Penn State's so overrated? So how big was that win? What did he or did he not?
He did.
I have it on. It's recorded. I have it ready to go back to if I need to. He said it. When I picked, I was like, I bet Penn State's the most overrated team. Okay. So if you beat them, you got to be careful because that means it's not that big a win. Move them out of your top 10 completely. That's how useless that. No, I'm just joking. Michigan's resume is better than Ohio State's at this point. That's what they needed. Michigan needed that top 10 when they got that. Obviously, real quick, I don't want to get too much into college football. I want to recap some NFL stuff quick, get into college football, and we'll get back to some calls. But the Tennessee win or the Michigan win, which one was bigger?
Tennessee. I mean, Michigan has made the college football playoff. Michigan has had some relevancy over the last, decade. They've obviously beat Ohio State. They've been in major bowl games. I can't remember the last time Tennessee has been major talked about since they won the first BCS national championship in 1999 with T. Martin and Dayton's own Peerless Price.
So, well, I said we've talked NFL. Let's just do college football here because I've been itching to get to it. Tennessee and Ohio State are the same team. They're the same team. I know everyone. Here's my frustration with Buckeye fans from over the weekend. What Tennessee did to Alabama, Kev? Do you look at how college football is today? It's not set up to stop teams. You're not going to stop an Ohio State offense. You're not going to stop an Alabama. You're not going to stop CJ Stroud. You're not going to stop Hooker. You're not going to stop Bryce Young. You're not going to stop those guys. The three best offenses in the country: Tennessee, Ohio State. Flip a coin. Which one's better? Tennessee, I'm going to roll with now just because I watched them go up against way better competition than anyone Ohio State's faced this year. Although I think it's 1A, 1B. I don't think one's significantly better than the other. I'm just going to give props to Tennessee because they did it against a much better opponent than what Ohio State has to this point. But I think what Bryce Young did to Tennessee's defense and what Hooker did to Alabama's defense is exactly what Bryce Young or Hooker would do to Ohio State's defense. And that's not a shot at Ohio State's defense. People rip on Alabama's defense. Is it the best? No. But Kev, there's NFL guys all over that.
Right.
College football, you are not going to stop these high-powered offensive power attacks. When you look at Alabama and Tennessee and Ohio State, the running backs, the wide receivers, the quarterback play, there's not a defense out there that's going to stop them. And I don't mean beat them. I mean stop them. You could beat them. Alabama lost. You could beat them. You're not going to stop them. You're not going to stop Bryce Young. You're not going to stop Hooker. You're not going to stop CJ Stroud. So to me, I'm not taking points away from Alabama because they gave up that many points. I'm just not. Maybe you will. But for me, that was a classic back and forth game. And I think if you watch Alabama play Ohio State, I think it's a shootout again. I think Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, it's a shootout. I think Tennessee, Ohio State, it's a shootout. We already saw the shootout between Tennessee and Alabama. Those are the three best offensive teams in the country. It's not even close. I'm not as down on Alabama losing that as what everyone else is. I know everyone is jumping on that. They gave up 50. Okay, you guys would be mad if they gave up 38 to Tennessee. You'd still be saying, man, they dropped 38 on them. You're not going to stop Tennessee's offense. You're not going to stop Alabama or Ohio State's offense. I think you could still be effective defensively and still give up a lot of points. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah.
You want to know what Alabama's problem was? You already alluded to it earlier when we were talking about the discipline of the Browns. The problem wasn't defensively for Alabama. You would like to see giving up less points in total yards, yes. It was discipline. Alabama wins that game not playing better defense, Kev. They win that game just being more disciplined. That's really what it came down to. You know what I mean? Like Ohio State, they're more disciplined at times in Alabama, so they would have a better opportunity to beat Tennessee. I don't know. All I'm trying to say is if the rankings, I know we got to talk about resumes, we got to talk about this. The three best teams in the country, in my opinion, are Alabama, Ohio State, and Tennessee. That's not a shot at Georgia. I just don't like Georgia's offense. It's not as high-powered as theirs. Their defense might be better, but again, can their offense keep up with what those three teams have? No. Michigan, I always say, is a poor man's Georgia. That may sound like a shot at Michigan, but they kind of remind me of one another, Kev. They're more about the defense, and they focus. They're not the sexiest offensive teams, but this isn't a shot at either of them. They're not good enough offensively to keep up with those teams. Georgia's not winning a shootout with Alabama, Tennessee, or Ohio State. Michigan's not winning a shootout with those teams. Michigan beat Ohio State last year because they ran all over them. You're not winning a shootout, though, with Ohio State, if that's the case. So, I don't know. I'm done reevaluating that. I thought it was a hell of a game. I texted you after. I'm like, holy crap. I was on the way back into town watching it on my iPad, and I'm like, man, this is like, I can't remember the last time I felt like this watching a football game. It was just that exciting. It was back and forth. There was so much drama. There was so much intensity. And what I loved about it, Kev, I don't give two rips about either of those teams.
Right.
I'm not a Bama fan. I'm not a, Tennessee fan. But that's just how high power or high star power and high affection, how high powered offenses. I'm sorry that was. It was fun. Your thoughts on that matchup?
17 penalties for 130 yards.
So not the giving up 50, the penalties.
No, it's the penalties. It's the penalties. Look, man, you're gonna give up points into this offense that they're running at Tennessee. Heupel, he's the former national championship quarterback at Oklahoma. They won, I want to say, the second BCS championship, or second or third, one of them. But anyway, he's their head coach. He runs a very unique scheme. It's almost kind of like how Baylor ran their offense back when RG3 was there, with the wide splits, wide receivers lining up behind wide receivers way spread out. So it puts your guys on islands. So it forces you as a receiver to make one-on-one plays. And I can't remember the one kid's name who had a Randy Moss game. He had like 5 catches for 4 touchdowns. Like, it was insane. It was jailbreak screens. It was a little bit of everything. And Hendon Hooker, we talked about this last week. He was not a good quarterback at Virginia Tech, but he's a good quarterback now. And that's all that matters. It's right here, right now. But speaking from the Alabama side of things, look, man, they have a ton of talent, but talent can't overcome 130 yards and penalties. It just can't. And you go look at the Texas game, they had another game with over 100 yards of penalties. Like, you can't win games like that when you have equal competition level. You just can't. Or even to say that Tennessee has a step below equal talent on their side of the football. That's going to balance everything out. And then you throw in the fact that, like, okay, Tennessee's at home, so you got all that behind them. And then you throw in the fact that Tennessee's undefeated. So now they feel like we really got a chance to win this thing. So all those things combined, and then you giving up 130 yards and penalty yardage, that's a recipe for disaster. I will say about the shootout thing, Georgia and Michigan, for that point, they're zigging when everybody else is zagging. Their brand of football is physicality. It's not only physicality at the offensive line, it's physicality at the defensive line. So you can win shootouts in those games by slowing down the pace and keeping those high-power offenses off the field with your running game. We saw that with Georgia versus the high-power offense at Oklahoma in that classic Rose Bowl matchup, because they're running basically the same offense. They had running backs galore out there at Georgia, running up and down the field with Sony Michel and Nick Chubb on that offense. Those were the offensive players for those teams. So I think different brands of football can win different ways. And I mean, they just did put up 50 points over the weekend by running the ball
on Vanderbilt.
It's
Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
no,
I'm just saying.
Like a Bengals fan. Holy moly.
50 points, a 50 burger. 50 burger, yes, a 50 burger verse.
You can't rip Michigan for what bad teams they play.
No.
Turn around and say Georgia put up 50 on Vanderbilt.
No. I'm not saying like, oh man, Vandy, there's something to be worried about. But when you have a game plan that's saying, hey, we're gonna run the ball as opposed to drop back and pass the ball all over the yard, I think that brand of physicality is something to be reckoned with. I mean, they proved their worth by winning the Natty last year.
Yeah, how many players were out for Alabama in the national championship game?
You tell me.
They had key weapons on offense. My point is you could say, oh yeah, it's a force to be reckoned with. That's fine, but you're not going to beat these high-powered offenses when they're clicking on all cylinders, trying to out-physical them. They'll just out-finesse you.
You would rather be finessed than physical?
Well, seeing as finesse always wins national championships outside of Georgia last year, yes, I'd rather be Ohio State, Alabama, or Tennessee right now than be Georgia or Michigan.
The finesse team that we root for lost to the physical team that we hate.
What?
Ohio State lost to the more physical team, that being Michigan last year.
Ohio State lost to Michigan because they couldn't stop a nosebleed.
Because Michigan was more physical.
But no, because if Ohio State could have a less physical defense, if they just had even a half of just a slightly different defense last year, they win that game.
But they didn't because they weren't physical.
They didn't because they had a horrible defense. It wasn't just because they weren't physical. They couldn't stop anybody.
And stopping the opponent comes being physical.
No.
They weren't physical. They weren't physical in the running game. They weren't physical in the defensive game. Michigan was more physical than Ohio State at every aspect of the game, and that's why they won.
They weren't physical enough to keep C.J. Stroud from throwing for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns.
We only scored 28 points.
It sounds like a bunch of P words to me if they can't keep C.J. Stroud from throwing 400 yards on him. I'm just saying.
They were more physical.
Man,
they
I
won.
You were an Ohio State fan.
I am, but I'm a realist.
Kev is right. Jake, Kev is right. So the Tennessee, Ohio State, Alabama, they suck ass because the other two teams are physical.
You're just putting words in people's mouth. Nobody said that.
You just did.
No, I said last year Ohio State lost. I said last year Ohio State lost to Michigan because Michigan was a far more physical team.
Yeah, Doug Toby, I don't agree with you ever, but get him because Michigan had 6th graders and Ohio State had freshmen. Exactly.
Hey, that means their bodies developed. That means they're more physical.
Oh, Jesus. 518-1410. Who do we have?
Your buddy, our buddy, B. Shaw.
Oh, here. Shaw, what's up? Shaw. He's joking. What up, Shaw? Welcome. You're on live. Shaw.
You done yet?
Just start talking. Hurry up. We only got 45 minutes left.
Why are you so pissed off at me?
My God, are you a girl? What's wrong with you? Just get to your point. Did you wait on hold just to ask what's wrong? What's your opinion? Oh, he hung up on me. He hung up on me this time.
Wow.
Shoes on how the turntables, to quote the old Office there. My goodness. Shaw, call back, you big baby.
Oh, wow.
My gosh. You don't hang up on me. I hang up on you.
Wow.
Shaw, the rules are that you just lost points.
All the points you earned over the weekend flushed down the toilet.
We're starting back at -5 with him. You don't hang up on me. I hang up on you. We'll be right back.
Good one, Shaw.
Damn. See, you're about as weak as. Never mind. We'll be right back. 518-1410.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
What QC Kinetics is doing for people here is nothing short of amazing. I'm talking real lasting relief from joint pain. Hey, it's Keith Byers. QC Kinetics is the nation leader in exciting new pain treatments with advanced regenerative medicine, non-surgical alternatives. If you're living with joint pain from injury or arthritis, don't let them tell you steroids and pain meds and surgery are your only options. QC Kinetics uses regenerative treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue. Maybe you've been diagnosed with bone-on-bone arthritis and been told you need a replacement. Call QC Kinetics now for an alternative way to deal with the pain. These amazing protocols work with pain caused by injury as well, like a torn meniscus or a rotator cuff. Call QC Kinetics now. Don't keep living with that pain. Learn how regenerative medicine can give you your life back with no drugs and no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 937-936-0325. That's QC Kinetics. 937-936-0325.
My name is Ruth Rusi, and this is how I live United. I read to children as part of United Way's education program. It helps them create links between language and literacy and prepares them for a better academic future. I figure I have the time and they have the need. My name is Ruth Rusi. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Everyday values are at only one place, Frickers. Monday, boneless frickin' chicken wings. Tuesday, traditional frickin' chicken wings. Wednesday is all about that steak. Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks. Frickers, where kids 10 and under eat free every day. Remember draft beer specials, everyday values, and kids eat free every day. The home for money-saving value is the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
The best audio entertainment this fall is on Audible. It's the home of storytelling with audiobooks, exclusive originals, popular podcasts, and more. All in one app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Down the sideline to the 10. It drags a defender in the end zone for a touchdown. Jackson Smith and Jigba. A 50-yard scoring strike from C.J. Stroud. He'll hit the Purdue 40. Down the left side to the 30. Henderson to the 20, to the 10. And into the end zone goes Henderson.
Don't miss the Buckeyes all season long. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. And on 92.9 Jack FM. Go Bucks.
518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation.
You all right?
I'm fine. I'm not the one with the problem. Shaw's the one with the problem. Calls in, hanging up.
Have you ever been hung up on before?
No, that pisses me off. Don't hang up on me. I hang up on you. Minus 5 points, Shaw. Minus 5.
Tragic.
Let's see, by the way. And like I said, we'll get back to the calls coming up here in just a moment. Ryan Strong. He says, hell yeah, Shaw, don't take his negativity. Ryan Strong, more like Ryan Weak. That was weak. David Shaw says, no thanks, bump that. What?
Bump that.
Is that like some kind of like slang that I don't bump that? Like, are we going to, what? Bump that. Hey, Shaw, call back. Oh, bump that. I ain't going to call. Like, is that like Shaw talk? What does that even mean? Hey, Siri, wasn't talking to you. No, not you. God, now there's a Google thing in here, too. We have way too many different random speakers in the studio.
Bump that.
Like, yeah. He said to call, bump that. To calling back, trying not to. Okay. Shy, cold out. You've probably been drinking all day. You're not making any sense. I got nothing. All right, 518-1410. Kev, who's up?
Ronnie.
Oh, speaking of drinking. Ron, how are you, buddy?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Oh, Ron, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Oh, yeah. Black and yellow,
About
black
what?
and yellow, black and yellow. What up, Ron? How do you lose to the Steelers? My God, I didn't know you were the Bengals.
You know, at least I had the nerve to call in after a loss. Okay?
All right. You know what? Valid. I'll stop the black and yellow music. You know, all right, that's fair. You did.
And
You
I
called
did.
in.
I did want to call in and tell Kev kudos on the win. And
Thank you.
I'll tell you, that
I had
was-
everything
that
to
was
do with it.
Boring. My God. I go on. Like,
I had everything to do with it. I threw the passes. I was blocking. I
I'll
was
tell you
tackling.
what.
I was out there making plays.
I don't know, Justin, if you watched the game. I know he did, but that was a defensive battle, man. I mean, I don't know about the Devin White hit on Pickett that knocked him out. I mean, it didn't look like it was that bad. Okay. Anyway.
Dirtiest team in
you know,
football.
quit it. And they threw a flag. and it was funny because it was holding, so they didn't even dismiss that call.
Right.
I mean, they did. They got rid of it. You know what I mean? So, but I mean, it was a good game to watch. It kept you watching the game. I mean, it went down 2-point conversion, and I totally blame my superstar quarterback for that loss. He has to go to a wedding on a Friday night in Boston and fly back on a Saturday and miss the walkthrough. And I think the team wasn't really cool with that. I think, they did their best because then he's chewing them out. And I think they were like, hey, man, you should have been here, So, but I'm not worried about my team, Justin. My team's still in first place.
My team beat the Steelers. My team beat the Steelers.
Oh, hey, you know what?
What?
I'm congratulating Kevin on this win. But if your team beats mine, no way in hell you'll hear it from me.
So, let's be clear, Ron. My team, you're saying my team's not very good, right?
They suck.
Okay, so
they do.
But your team has one more win than they do. So your amazing Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is one game better than my really, really bad Cleveland Browns team. Really?
Hey, but guess what?
So that means the Buccaneers are one game better than a team with the backup quarterback and one of the worst defenses in football. You're saying that after just losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wow.
Hey, it was a trap game. Okay. And like I said,
I'll be the judge of that. Hold on. Let's see, because you might be onto something. Let's see who they play next. A trap game, you're only really no. That ain't a trap game. You're playing the Panthers.
Your boy
next.
Baker.
They're playing the Panthers next week. That's not a trap game.
If he beats them, that is an
Baker's not playing. Baker's out.
Yeah, so now you have a chance to win.
They got a third string guy in there.
PJ Walker.
Hey, did you guys
Hey,
what but where were you guys in the standings in the AFC North?
Third.
Fourth? Third?
Huh. Yep. You know who's in last? The team that just beat you.
Yeah. But guess what? We beat the team that beat the 49ers, the Falcons. It was a crazy day yesterday. It was crazy. Green Bay, all the big guns going down. There's a lot of parity in the NFL this year. It's not like
Ron, teams who lose to the Steelers like to preach about parity. Really, it's just a lot of bad football. There's a lot of bad football. There's only two teams playing really good football right now, and that's the Chiefs. The Chiefs, Bills, and Eagles. Outside of that, everyone else is it's very bad football right now. I'm not even trolling. It is. The league is I'm not saying the league is bad, but teams are not playing well right now. Like, I'm actually surprised at how we only have 3 teams playing legitimate football right now, that as far as offense, defense, special teams, and everything. Like the Bucks, I thought would be a part of that, but they've had a weird offseason. He retires and he comes back. I think that situation's overblown of him going to Robert Kraft's wedding over the week. I think that's a little overblown. If they win, we're not even talking about it, but is what it is. I just think there's other underlying issues there. The Bucks, I think, are fine. They're going to be fine. That's a team that'll figure it out by the end. People keep trying to talk about the Packers and the Buccaneers as if they're the same team because they have veteran quarterbacks. They'll figure it out. The Buccaneers will figure it out because they have talent. The Packers don't.
Yeah, they do.
The Packers don't.
They do.
So I'll give your team that. Look, you had a bad week against that. So, is what it is. But that's my last. That's the only thing I'm going to say nice to you, Ron.
Oh, man. If you were smart, I'll tell you. Kev can tell you. I know you didn't watch the game, Kenner, because I know you were watching the Clowns. So, but Leonard Fournette is a force, man. That guy gets the ball and gets on a roll. He's a.
Speaking of rolls, wasn't he like really overweight coming into the season?
Yeah, but look what he's doing.
What's he doing?
Ask Kev. He looked pretty good yesterday.
I'm just curious. What is he doing?
He's carrying the team right now. So, and you know what? I think the whole thing about this team, everybody's like, "Oh, the Bucks, they're not the pass team they were. They're not throwing the yards up." Well, Bowles is a defensive coach, okay? So he's planning to play defense and run the ball, and they've been trying to run the ball and play defense and play less pass. So, but I will say one thing: yesterday's game was one of the few I didn't see any turnovers at all.
All right, Ron. Well, good
It was
luck
cool.
against the Panthers next week. By the way, Leonard Fournette, what he's doing is he's 18th in rushing. Just want to throw that out there. I don't know what he's doing. He's 18th in rushing, but whatever you say. I think he'll be fine. They'll be fine. Ron, appreciate the call.
Yeah. Hey, eat poo.
What? My gosh. It's like these callers listen to Shaw and then they become like him. They don't make any sense.
He didn't hang up on you.
I hung up on it. I made sure I beat him to the punch.
So you don't
see.
make a big deal about Brady going to the wedding on that Friday and not showing up for the team meetings.
It's a big deal because they lost. They win. We're not talking about it. I don't think they lost because of that. It's just a bad look. But then again, I'm a professional at defending weird stuff like that because I was a Browns fan with Baker there for 3 years. So it's like
I think it's a huge deal. Not only does him missing the walkthrough on Saturday, but him having off days on Wednesdays and the leaving the team during the preseason. Look, I don't have a problem with him leaving the team during the preseason. If he's dealing with family issues, there's a lot of reports, things are going on between him and his wife. If you need to go handle that, you need to go handle that. Not being there for work, because this is work, for a wedding, nah. And I think the bigger crime is Robert Kraft having a wedding during the football season, and you're a team owner. Like, that's the weirdest thing to me.
I don't know how many more days he has left.
Oh,
just
Kenner.
saying. And I'm pretty sure she's urging him. I don't know how many days you got left either, and I need that money.
Like, I just think that's weird for him to have a wedding
They
during
said
the
she's
football
50.
season.
I thought she looked like 40 or 30. Like, so good for him.
How old is Robert Kraft? Let's do the Googles.
180 something.
Robert
but
Kraft, Chief Executive Officer of the New England Patriots, is 81.
Yeah, see what I mean? He doesn't have many days left.
And
She was
she's
in a hurry. She
50?
goes, I can't wait another 10 weeks of the season. You may not be here in the next 10 weeks of the season.
You're so mean.
I'm just saying. Look at him.
Look in there.
Look at him. Do you think? I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. By the way, where'd he go? Gabe Evans. What up, Gabe? He's gonna be my brother-in-law here in a few weeks, and he says, "How about them Bengals? Who day? I ain't going to the wedding, Gabe. I ain't going to the wedding. I ain't gonna welcome you into the family when you're saying crazy things like who day. What's wrong with you?"
I will say Robert Kraft is a year older than Jerry Jones, and he looks a lot better than Jerry Jones. And Pete Carroll is, how old is Pete Carroll? Pete Carroll is 71. When I'm 71, I hope I look as good as Pete Carroll.
I'm sitting here judging the looks of old.
I'm just saying, man, he looks like he still can get around. I mean, he is getting around.
He is getting around. He's married a 50-year-old. He's getting around.
Factual.
Best that money can buy. We'll be right back. 518-1410. What? We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be partly cloudy, a high near 48. Tonight's going to be cloudy with a slight chance of rain and sleet, a low near 34. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain and sleet, a high near 48. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Make sure your home's heating and cooling system is in shape for the season with the experts and community trusted service that you can rely on. From William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning, we're offering exclusive savings opportunities on the new Lennox system. Call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 today, or visit us online at DaytonHeatingandCooling.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ohio license number 14911.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens Find Rx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Hey guys, this is Keenan Thompson. I have a problem with you. Yes, you. None of y'all told me that Auto Trader has millions of new and used cars that I can shop from home. I thought we were friends. I put smiles on your face, but I'm not smiling. No one told me that with AutoTrader, a dealer can deliver cars to my home or that I could shop by price on AutoTrader. No one. Consider this friendship that you just learned we had officially over. Finally, it's easy. AutoTrader.
Do you enjoy sports betting and fantasy sports? If so, it's important to know that gambling's not a way to pay bills or earn income. Learn how to set limits and recognize the warning signs for problem gambling by visiting beforeyoubet.org. You can also assess your risk by taking the responsible gambling quiz. Beforeyoubet.org provides free resources to help keep gambling safe and fun for Ohioans. Be a fan with a plan this season and go to beforeyoubet.org to learn more.
Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken is excited to announce their new delicious spicy bourbon chicken sandwich is here. It's the best of both worlds. Their spicy bourbon dippers that you love brought into a sandwich you'll crave. It's made with their famous spicy chicken sandwich, smothered in their special bourbon barbecue sauce, dripping with flavor on a brioche bun. Enjoy it in a combo with your favorite side and a drink, priced just right at only $6.99 and only available at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken Miami Valley locations. Lee's, famous for spicy bourbon chicken.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Seal off drafts, dust, moisture, and more with MD Weather Stripping from Menards. We have the Midwest's largest selection of in-stock weather stripping with over 130 products available to take home and start saving on energy costs today. Save time, money, and energy costs with 11% off all MD Weather Stripping right now at Menards. Good through October 23rd. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Everyday values are at only one place, Frickers. Monday, boneless frickin' chicken wings. Tuesday, traditional frickin' chicken wings. Wednesday is all about that steak. Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks. Frickers, where kids 10 and under eat free every day. Remember draft beer specials, everyday values, and kids eat free every day. The home for money-saving value is the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about Orgovix.
Orgovix Relagolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact: Orgovix is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovix may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovix can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovix treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovix may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovix. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed, because Indeed's all-in-one hiring solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Week 10 of the high school football season is officially upon us, and this week we'll have Northmont, Springfield at Northmont will be our ESPN Dayton high school football game of the week. Keith Byers and I will wrap up year number 6, bringing you high school football action.
Wow, 6 years already?
6 years, yep.
Wow.
First
Congratulations.
First 2 years was on 101.5 Hank FM, and then we moved back over to WING. And, we just racked up all these broadcasting awards, so I'm just saying.
One after the other.
One after the other, running out of room on the shelf. We welcome you back. Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today, all you got to do is use my promo code Kinner, Kinner. Don't ever say I never gave you anything. Use my promo code Kinner today, and you'll be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. When you use my promo code Kinner, you'll have $100 in free bets waiting for you for when the app goes live or when sports betting goes live starting in January of 2023, or at least that's the the current the plan, right? Like I can't wait. You see that the Reds are getting a sports book put in.
Yep.
BetMGM. It's going to be open starting, I believe, in January. It's going to be open just year round. So that's a good thing. Finally, I mean, that's no matter what players they go after coming up this offseason, that will be the number one thing that gets people to the ballpark. I'm just saying. But as I said, get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, all you got to do is use my promo code Kinner, KINNER, to get $100 in free bets. Then you can bet on all of your favorite teams, like the Browns, the Bengals, the Buckeyes, and more, and all of your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It's safe, it's secure, and super easy to use. Come on, Dayton. This is your chance to get in on the action. KINNER. Enter that promo code, and you will automatically have $100 in free bets waiting for you, so you can lose it all in January of 2023. At least you'll lose it all if you follow my advice. Follow the opposite of my advice. Here's my only sports betting advice I'll give you. I tell this to everyone. Always bet against your team. Always bet against your team. Because you'll always go to bed happy when you do that. You bet against your team, like the Buckeyes have Iowa this week. I'm going to bet on Iowa to win. Okay, if Iowa wins, I'm going to bed happy. You might have some money. I won money. You go to bed happy. If the Buckeyes win, sure, you lost some money, but your team won. Boom. How can you be disappointed? You always go to bed happy.
I'm not playing this game with you anymore.
Why?
I'm not playing this
game.
So
the Guardians. So what I'm saying. So what? You're going to bet on the Guardians to win. Then when they lose Game 5 tonight, so now you're out money.
Now the truth is coming out. Now the truth is coming out.
I need to speak to you in your language, Mr. Negative. So you bet on the Guardians to win.
I'm the one negative.
I didn't say it. So you bet on the Guardians to win tonight. The Guardians lose tonight. Now your team's out of the playoffs and you lost money. That sucks. Bet on the Yankees. Then, if the Yankees win, all right, you win some money. Hey, they get beat. The Guardians win. Hey, you lost some money. Charge it to winning. Guardians in the American Championship League Series. It's great advice. It is. It's probably the smartest concept I've ever come up with in life. You're welcome, folks.
Don't do the Kenner.
David Shaw says, just going to throw away money on Iowa. Dumbest thing I've ever heard you say. It's just a concept. I had to say something really, really like down here so that even you could understand, Shaw. My gosh.
It's only
Shaw,
Monday.
if you're going to call and hang up, you're not a part of the show anymore. Go away. You're going to call and hang up. I hang up on you. You don't hang up on me. You're going to hang up. You're not part of the show.
Shaw, I think you touched the nerve. You touched the nerve, Shaw.
Oh, yeah. I want to read some of these comments, but they're about Robert Kraft, and I don't think they're it's appropriate.
You started it.
He technically did.
Never mind.
What?
Nothing.
All right, download the FanDuel Sports book app. Got it? Promo code Kinner, KINNER. I don't care. Bet on whoever the hell you want. I don't care. Just use my promo code.
There you go.
There we go. All right, 518-1410, 518-1410. Guardians, Yankees tonight, by the way. Game 5, we had Al Pawlowski on the show earlier. He, of course, is the host of Guardians Live on Bally Sports. So we had him on to preview tonight's game. It's one of those things where, I mean, he didn't sound the most confident in tonight. How are you? How are you feeling about
I feel good about tonight.
The gripe tonight.
I feel real good about tonight. All we got to do is get to that Yankees bullpen. Cole, they pay him a ton of money, and he played to that money last night by pitching he pitched what? I want to say 7-8 innings last night. So they know their bullpen stinks. All we got to do is get to the bullpen. Get to the bullpen, we win.
Who's on the mound tonight?
That's a good question.
So on the mound tonight will be Savali?
Yes.
So Talion was on. See, this is why, and who they pitched last night. He pitched in game 1 of the series. I would have pushed him to tonight. I would have pushed him to tonight because your ace is not as good as the Yankees ace and Garrett Cole. So I feel like
Shane Bieber?
No, who started last night?
I'm drawing a blank.
Either way, they should have had one of those two ready for tonight is all I'm saying. So I wouldn't have started him last night. I would have had him ready to go tonight. Just because I would have liked their chances better going up against Talion. Talion's not the worst, but Savali is not the worst either. All I'm saying is I would have taken my chances against Garrett Cole with the lesser pitcher in your rotation if it lined up that way.
I got
and then go for the heavy punch in game 5. Because you were, even series. You have nothing to lose at that point, or
Right.
not even series. You had the lead, you had the upper hand, but I think they saw that opportunity of let's just go for a knockout punch in Cleveland. I don't mind that whatsoever. All right, 518-1410 talking college football. We've covered it all today. Anything you want to jump in on? The phone lines are yours. 518-1410. Kev, who's up?
Chad, line 2.
Chad, how are you, sir? Thanks for holding.
Hey, not too bad. How you doing, Kenner?
Not too bad. Are you about to hang up on me?
Actually, I was gonna say that was one of the funniest things I've ever heard on radio before.
What, me getting
And
Sean throwing a temper tantrum? He's so childish.
And I know the feeling, though. Nothing will piss a man off more than getting hung up on when you were planning on hanging up on somebody else.
Yeah, he beat me to the punch. I had the finger ready to go. I was just ready to hit drop. But anyways, no, what's up, man?
Big Buckeyes fan, long-time listener, first-time caller. I got the Buckeyes winning the national championship this year, man. What do you think?
I still have the Buckeyes. I feel like you're setting me up just to drop this any second now. But anyways, the Buckeyes, I still well, by the way, this goes back to my point that I made last week. If they don't have Jackson Smith and Jigba, they're not winning a national championship. After what I saw from Tennessee and Alabama, they need every weapon possible to go, punch for punch. But I think they have what it takes. It wouldn't surprise me if they're hoisting up the trophy at the end. All I'm saying is at the end of the day, to me, they need every weapon that they can have possibly out there. I like the chances better with Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Oh, definitely agree. My curiosity from you was who, now that Alabama's went down and Tennessee exposed them for the team that they are this year, who you think they're going against?
Who?
OSU. Who did they play in the national championship this year?
Oh, you're saying you're already getting to the national. I mean, you haven't getting through Michigan. You haven't getting through the Big Ten title game. You're getting through the semifinal, just right to the championship game. I think right now Georgia's 1, Ohio State 2. I mean, Clemson, I'm not buying into Clemson, but right now if they came out, look, I think it's Ohio State, Georgia in the national championship.
I think Penn State opened up what we got to do against Michigan. So I think the Michigan game isn't going to be as exciting as everyone wants to make it out to be. I think Michigan's a little overrated, but that's a lifetime Buckeye fan saying that. So, of course, I think Michigan's overrated every year, even when they beat our ass. So that doesn't really change the situation on that thought process. But when it comes to the playoff system, I don't see anybody beating Ohio State in that playoff this year. When it's a one-game situation, you need the best players on the field to win one game and one game only. Ohio State's got it hands down.
But you watched Tennessee over the weekend. You just think it's that easy. Yeah. I actually feel less confident after what I saw over the weekend. And that's not me being anti-Buckeye. I'm just like, I thought there was no offense that was remotely close to Ohio State's. And then I watched that Tennessee-Bama game. I'm like, crap, there's 3 offenses, the 3 most explosive offenses. It's hard. I mean, Alabama's just not as disciplined as the other 2, but I think Tennessee and Ohio State, they're the same team. I think they're the same team.
As far as offense goes,
yeah,
I would have to agree.
So Brad Mays on Facebook, he says Ohio State versus the Vols and the Vols win.
That'd be interesting. That'd be one hell of a game, to be honest.
But, and Shaw, he's mad at you. Shaw's mad at you, by the way. I'm sure if you were on the phone with him, he'd hang up on you. Just what a childish thing he would do. But he goes,
tell him that he can't cry over spilled milk. He's got to grow up.
And by the way, Shaw, why do you have a thing that says I stand with Blockbuster Video? Why is that his Facebook profile picture? Anyways, weirdo. But Chad, David or Shaw says, what did Penn State do? They had 3 plays.
They lost. That's what they did. I mean, I didn't catch much of the game because, like I said, big OSU fan. So with Saturday having we had the day off, didn't pay much attention to much football. Got ready for Sunday. Big Bengals fan here. Like I said, calling in. That's what I was actually calling in for. As you guys were talking about the Tom Brady issue and him going to Kraft's wedding, I wanted to make a comment over the fact that he just should have stayed in Boston and let Tampa Bay put in a second-string quarterback because I think he's washed up. Me personally, Tom's got marriage problems. Tom's got kid problems. Tom's got problems. He should have just stayed at the wedding and let Robert Kraft put him on the payroll at Mac and Cheese or something.
I mean, Chad, thank you for the call. I had to beat him to the pot. I don't know where that call was going. I'm not going to lie. I have no clue what was about to happen.
You're nervous?
Yes, I'm very nervous. I don't trust these callers anymore.
I wonder why.
Chad, appreciate the call. I appreciate the call. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't trust you. There was something about you. You were a little squirrely on the phone. I didn't trust the call.
I wonder why.
Well, because he was saying things that didn't make sense. He was making me agree with Shaw. He goes, Ohio State is going to beat Michigan because of what Penn State did to expose them. What? What does that even mean? Penn State looked like garbage. Michigan looked really good. What did Penn State do? So now he's making me take Shaw's side, the blockbuster dude. What? That doesn't even make sense.
Well, I'll respond to Chad by saying this. It's still a lot of football to be played. Alabama only has one loss. They still play on the SEC West. So if they win the SEC West, they still play in the SEC championship game. Maybe they get a rematch versus Tennessee. Maybe they play Georgia. So they're not done. And the biggest thing that, if I'm just on the outside looking in, the problems for Alabama can be fixed. 17 penalties for 130 yards, 15 penalties for 100 yards. Those things can be fixed because they have the talent. Other things that can't be fixed for other teams, if you got bad talent on defense, like Tennessee has bad talent on defense, especially when their star safety got arrested the week before the game and was not eligible to play this game versus Alabama. Like, those type of things can't be fixed, but you can stop false starting. You can stop with the holding. You can stop with the late hits. So those things for Alabama can be fixed. I still think Alabama will have a voice to be heard in the college football playoff.
Brad, I know you're listening, so I don't want you to get mad at me because I've already crapped on your Aaron Rodgers team already. He loves Aaron Rodgers. He listens. So Aaron Rodgers goes to the Pat McAfee show. So Brad heard him on the Pat McAfee show. He's like, oh, he's actually a real adorable dude. But everyone craps on Aaron Rodgers.
You used the word adorable?
Did I say adorable?
Yes.
He's adorable. Whatever. So I don't know what the hell the bell is for. I'm so thrown off today. Like, I feel like I don't trust anyone or anything. But I crapped on Aaron. But so I like Tennessee. I think Tennessee is as good as Ohio State. I know that irritates Buckeye fans. Tennessee is Ohio State. Here's why Tennessee's not going to get to the national championship game, though. Tennessee's not going to get to the national championship game. Brad, they may not get to the playoff. And I think they're a top 3 team in football. I thought they should be number 1. If we're going to say they beat Alabama, okay, they put 50 up on Alabama. They have the most impressive resume of anyone in college football. And the SEC is always, Georgia and Alabama. Well, here's Tennessee taking care of business against Alabama. They're beating everyone that's on their radar. Their offense is as good, if not more explosive. They've gone against better defenses in Ohio State. Tennessee should be number 1, but they're not going to get there because you have to get through Alabama twice and Georgia once. That's the problem with Tennessee. That's why they're not going to get to the playoff, in my opinion. I don't see how you could beat Georgia and then beat Alabama again in the SEC title game and get to the playoff. That's as tough a road as anyone. Ohio State plays in a garbage conference. They're going to be tested one time, and I don't even know how much of a test it'll be against that team up north. Michigan I'm starting to buy in a little more each week. That's as nice of a thing I'll say about them. Over the weekend, they proved like they clicking on all cylinders. Like, they look solid. Very physical.
They were. They ran for like 300 yards.
I need a bell, too. That was a good bell. Hit the bell.
No.
Come on, hit the bell.
The bell belongs to me.
Hit the bell or I'll scream.
Just scream. What is going on here? It's only Monday. We got 4 shows. Here you go.
There we go. David Shaw says Tennessee is a poor man's Ohio State. Man, buzz off. What do you mean a poor man's Ohio? Oh, wait. No. I agree with you. My bad.
See?
Sorry.
You just used to disagreeing with him.
I am.
You don't even know when y'all agree with each other.
Well, hold on. I disagree with him. Hold on. No. Seriously.
It's like guarding Allen Iverson out here. I don't know which way to go.
Way out of it today. Anyways, I respectfully disagree. I don't think they're a poor man's Ohio State. I think they are Ohio State. And now people are saying, well, Tennessee's defense is bad. Ohio State's defense, we don't know what it is. They haven't faced anybody to test them. And what I mean by that is if they face an elite quarterback, which they will not do between now and the Big Ten championship game, my concern is the Big Ten is not prepping them for the playoffs whenever they get to one of those high-powered offenses. I think Ohio State is most equipped to beat Georgia because I think that Georgia is a very, very good Big Ten team. They're an elite Big Ten team. Like, Georgia's built like a Big Ten team. They're physical, as you talked about. They run the ball. They're capable of passing, but they're going to run the ball down your throat. That's Georgia. Ohio State could beat that because that's all they beat in the Big Ten. What they haven't faced and what they never face is, and this is why we were worried about Utah in the Rose Bowl last year, is those type of offenses are scary for Ohio State. So, no, I think Tennessee is Ohio State. And the difference between the two is Tennessee has the better resume. They play in the SEC. They're challenged more. Ohio State's not going to be challenged between now and then. So, Shaw, I know what you're saying. I say Michigan's the poor man's Georgia. I think that's kind of why he was doing that. Maybe. I don't know. But I don't think they're a poor man's Ohio State. I think they are Ohio State. That's not a shot at either one of them. That's just how good I think Tennessee is, and that's how good I think Ohio State is.
How much time we got left on the show?
3 minutes.
All right, so 3 minutes. Can I get my props for calling this in July?
I said earlier. Ding. Hit the bell. Give yourself a ding. There you go. Yeah. Here,
I need my props. Get on your side of the studio. I'll just say, who's the SEC commissioner that called up here and said I was stupid for believing that Tennessee was going to beat Alabama?
The SEC commissioner?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
I don't know. He's disappeared. I have no clue.
He said I was crazy for thinking that Tennessee was going to beat them. And it mapped out just like I said it would. Tennessee was going to be undefeated. Alabama was going to play A&M, emotional victory over them because of all the stuff that happened in the offseason with Jimbo and Nick Saban and A&M beating them last year, and they would go into Tennessee and get down early and come back, and ultimately Tennessee will win the game. Exactly how I predicted. Listen to your boy.
So David Shaw, big Buckeye fan, he says Ohio State's defense isn't giving up 49 to Bama. How do you know? Based on what? I'm a Buckeye fan, and I can't confidently tell you that. You have no their corners actually, and talking with Byers, Byers is concerned about their cornerbacks. He didn't say he's concerned. He doesn't think they'll give up 50 to Alabama either, but he won't give Bama any props, obviously. I do think Ohio State's defense, I'm not sold on. I think it's much improved from last year, but I don't think it's improved to the point to where they're going to stop Tennessee or stop Alabama. But to be fair, Tennessee and Alabama, they're not stopping Ohio State either. So
the biggest
60 seconds.
The biggest thing about Ohio State's secondary is health. Is Cam Brown going to be back? Is Denzel Burke finally going to start playing to his level that he did as a freshman? So those are the two concerns I have, especially for the corners.
All right, we closed it out today with Lamar Shelley. Oh, he used the line. The Bengals playing multiple backups at various positions is hard to game plan for. Oh, stop. Lamar,
We
are
only
you
have 60
actually
seconds.
are you telling me? Are you serious? So you're saying that the Saints, it was a tough matchup because you didn't know who to prepare for because they didn't have Michael Thomas or Chris Olave or Jarvis Landry. Oh, the poor Bengals, Kev. They had to prepare for practice string guys. Oh, my God, practice squad. Oh, poor Bengals. That is why a win is a win in the NFL. Stop it, Lamar. You know, fans of bad teams use the win is a win moniker. You know who doesn't say that? The Bills and the Chiefs. When they lose a game, and I know the Bengals won, but I don't care. It wasn't a win.
It wasn't a win.
They held on for dear life with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, the defending AFC champions.
Kind of reminds me of when you said the Browns won when they lost.
Out of time. Till tomorrow, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day. Football I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Everyday values are at only one place, Frickers. Monday, boneless frickin' chicken wings. Tuesday, traditional frickin' chicken wings. Wednesday is